Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast for your Tuesday night. We are back looking at a road surface, which looks lovely, but that is the road surface of Spa, and we are here for the new Season 5 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series. Looking forward to it, and we're live with Pass 2 for the very first time on the network. Joined by Carl Withy as always, and we have a rather unusual sounding Scotty Rankin, and that is because he is in the seat of one of these radicals as someone goes around straight away out of pit lane. I hope there wasn't you, Scotty, as we get this one started.
Cargo burr, that's the thing that I've learned, cargo burr.
Carl, how are we?
What a great success for Scotty there. Oh, there we go, it was him.
No, it wasn't Scotty,
Yeah, I'm not too bad, and welcome to Oz 2. It's great to be here, and great to have this on as a pre-show event. Going to be an exciting one. Gives a few new faces the chance to come in and prove their worth for the AUSPASS community, and have a bit of fun as well, especially Radicals at Spa. I mean, you can't get much more fun than that. Absolutely,
this is going to be a wild and woolly event. We've got LMP2s coming up for you as well with the main game. They've got the LMP2s and the Radicals too, so there is plenty coming your way in the next couple of hours, so do stick with us. As I just noticed there, you're really going to be enjoying that camera perspective, which is all tree, so we'll just jump out of that one. Whole heap of new names to get used to, drivers, cars, liveries, the lot, so do expect that we will make some mistakes as we get across this. We'll explain to you, if you've just joined us, if you didn't see last week, how we've come about having Pass 2 and the process that we went through to get to sorting out the grid for this one. So plenty to come your way. Of course, Carl, there's no championship update to do tonight, so perhaps do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of what people might expect to see, what they might not know about these really cool Radical race cars?
Well, I can absolutely do that. The Radical SRA is a absolute little beastie of a car. Of course, it is very lightweight. Got a V8 engine in it, technically. Two motorbike engines effectively strapped together in it. 380 horsepower, I think, off the top of my head. And it weighs something around about, what, 1,300 pounds. So it is absolutely weighs nothing, got a huge amount of horsepower, revs up to a ridiculously high note, and is just the most fun you can have. When you get out of one of these things, you are going to be smiling, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Two was it R1 engines you said there, strapped together with a common crankshaft?
GSXR.
GSXR motors, right, okay, no problems at all, because we know them, they've got any wide number of things that you can do with them. I've seen them in minis and the like as well. I think we spoke about that last season, of course. I did just want to do a brief apology to everyone as well, and it's on behalf of Mark Zuckerberg. We're not on Facebook tonight, so if you are trying to watch this on Facebook, Facebook went down today if you didn't hear, and they haven't quite got up the multi-streaming access that we rely on to actually stream this to Facebook concurrently when we do YouTube and Twitch as well. So do be aware of that, and apologies in advance if you are joining the stream on YouTube for the first time. But while you're there, it's a really good opportunity to follow, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on as well.
Very much so. It's almost like we planned that one. We did not have anything to do with the Facebook going down, of course. There was no
can neither confirm nor deny. So we're just getting through qualifying here. Scotty, obviously over to you as well. How are things out on track tonight? We'll jump on board with you just to put the pressure on.
What would he say about before stream about talking to me going through Row Rouge Redillion?
That it was compulsory. I'm pretty sure that it was compulsory.
You literally just jumped to me going through Row Rouge Redillion. I'm just trying to take a breath, catch my breath, settle myself down. This is where all your time's going to be made up, down the Kemmel Straight in the draft and then into Lake Coombe. What you actually want to do down to third, use a little bit of curb here. Hold the throttle on. You're never 100% out of the throttle. Short shift to 4 to maximize this corner without wheel spin. Or run down the hill. That's a little slow. I'm not 100% happy with that, but still quick. The guys in AUSPASS that elect to do these will be in the 2:11s tonight for their qualifying laps for sure. Curbing on both sides, remembering Spa now has that new tyre detection system model and the track that probably most needed it. So 5th gear all the way down in here. In an, what's this, Puan?
Yep.
Love Puan. A little bit of flat out, kick it in. You can just see the rear end of the car constantly wanting to step out. It's just low weight cars with lots of horsepower. They're going to want to do that all the time. You know what? It's kind of like driving a very light version of the NASCAR Cup cars is probably the best way to do it. Down to 3rd gear here, get the car turned in on the throttle early, because if you lose any time here, it's all the way up the hill that you're going to have problems with speed. Another little break. Oh, thank God. That was so much work, that last 30 seconds.
So now you can take a break while you get ready for one of the best corners in motorsport if you get it right. If you get it wrong, it's one of the most exciting corners, of course.
Well, in these cars, there's no issue whatsoever. But when we get now GT3 spec cars a little bit later on in the season, next week in fact, that's where it's very, very scary. And then the chicane, car on my right, so trying to narrow it up a little bit. Not happy with the lap time. There is a fair bit of lap time I've got to make up there, but that's a 2:13 neat.
Mate, it's a place to start in 5th position there, so see how you make your way up from there.
Head down, I think.
It becomes a lot easier, of course, when you're not chatting to us through Rouge and Redillion.
Mate, I can talk underwater. Don't know what you're on about.
Well, I mean, under the red water, of course. So try not to do that, though, because that means you probably flip the car off into the river. So try not to do that one.
Oh, but I think Stuart's comment is probably the best one to make. Like, these cars are just so much fun. They're kind of just like a supercharged go-kart, and that's just smile from ear to ear.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a practice before we jumped in, and I must say I was grinning from ear to ear jumping out of one of these little things, because it is just such a fun little car to drive, and it's an underrated little car. Radicals, of course, the Radical sports cars, they are just some of the best fun little track day cars out there. As it goes a little bit wide there. Just getting on that grass a little bit there, Scotty, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, tried to get back to the throttle too soon, transition weight off the front.
Giving that lawn a little bit of a moan.
Hard work too.
But they are just some of the most fun little cars, and they make some of the best little track special cars there are in the world, and some of the best little sort of almost getting yourself used to the prototypes that come afterwards. They're sort of like the what's it?
Well, you've heard of prototype. How about proto-light?
That's terrible. That's terrible, and you deserve to crash for that one for not a set of qualifying laps, so I hope this one does not count for you.
We're going to have a great one with this, aren't we, Carl?
That one was, even for me, that was bad, Scotty. That was
Rough justice, no prisoners here in the com box, that's for sure. But anyway, this we'll have to sort this out here because we've just jumped on board with Scotty. Let's jump across here. Blake Urquhart's just gone into the fastest position so far. So he's still out on track. Let's jump on board with Blake.
Yeah, he's got a teammate in Vandal just behind him. So it looks like those two are actually working together a little bit, possibly trying to get a little bit of lap time down the straights and just giving each other a little bit of a tow here and there. So a little bit of teamwork going on by the looks of it. And that's not a bad idea around this place. That can get you a nice bit of time down the straights.
It might explain that a little bit of that gap. So Liam Caprice just knocked off the top step there temporarily as well. So we've got just on 7 minutes left in qualifying. So with the series, Carl, just wanting to give the audience a bit of a rundown on how it came to be that we ended up with Pass 2. Of course, they may not have seen the amazing qualifying that we got to broadcast last week that resulted in, I think it was 4/10 covering our Pro split, and it was the second covering our Pro and Am split in the GT series. And then any driver effectively who didn't make that series ended up here in Pass 2.
Yeah, effectively, and that's what Pass 2 is there for, of course. It's almost the, I hate to use the term overflow championship, but because there's been such a good turnout with the AUSPASS series recently, there's just not enough places, not enough spots on the grid, unfortunately, for everybody to get in. So Pass 2 was formed to allow some people to get in that normally would not be able to race, unfortunately, and just gives everybody that opportunity, and will also allow them to possibly head up to the main series later on as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess it's as very much a development series as nothing else. So gets the guys used to the system, used to the way that the organisers run AUSPROAM, including, like, they've held to account to the same standards for driving standards. There is a stewarding system like there was or is in AUSPASS. They're running the same cars, albeit in these wildcard rounds they are running the lower of the two vehicles, so we will see LMP2s out here tonight in the main race, but it's still GT3 racing, fixed setups, so you know, it's very much that same setup as we're going to see in the main game.
Yeah, very much so, and it just gives them, as you say, it gives a developmental series and actually allows people to progress to the next stage, and hopefully we'll see a few of the AUSPASS 2 competitors move up next season into the AUSPASS series, the full AUSPASS series, and hopefully get there in the AM or even possibly Pro classes as well. It just gives them the opportunity to move up there, and as we say, a little bit more racing on your Tuesday night as well, which is even better because we've been dealing with such great races with the AUSPASS series in its own respect. Having Pass 2 here just means we get more fantastic racing to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, you know, people want to have go racing on a Tuesday night in these cars, so this gives them that opportunity to still do it. And of course, talking about making the move up, we saw Lockie Capel in the season last year, you know, talk about a driver move up. He's jumped from the amateur class to the pro class, so it's certainly possible to do that just with some consistent driving. And you know, one of the things we say this about Ann's car as well, one of the things about this series that's good is the drivers all help one another out, so they all want everyone to go that little bit quicker to make the racing more competitive, and so there's plenty of benefit there as well for those drivers.
It is indeed. John Bolton just setting a really good lap time, was just sitting behind Nathan Varney, and got a really nice tow through the final sectors and down that final, well, not really straight through Blanchemont towards the new bus stop, and really got a nice tow there, and that really helped that lap time just get dropped down a little bit, and looks like he's going to possibly pass Varney this time round as they get down the long Kemmel straight. And there are definitely some strategic places being put around there just to help each other out a little bit, and I'm expecting Link Police to actually set a good time here because he's sort of at the back of this train of cars. He's got 4 cars in front of him, a relatively good little gap there as well, and we think Police has been fast, and one of those drivers that just did not make it into the AM class this time in AUSPASS this season because it was just so tight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, it can be anyone that misses out. That's the beauty of it. So,
It's a hard, horrible thing to have. It's a hard thing to have when you just don't have enough space for every driver. It's a terrible problem to have, but it's kind of a problem that any series would generally like, in all honesty.
yeah, absolutely right. So, just a matter of having a look at that. Just waiting to see if I was just double checking to see if Facebook's actually come back up yet. It hasn't, so it does look like we're going to miss out on the Facebook stream for this evening.
Very unfortunate indeed, but at least everything else seems to be somewhat working, so that's some good news. So we have got a little bit of work there. You can just see Nathan Varney just getting a bit wide there through Blanchimont, and that really cost him, and just had to back out of it and just completely left the track there. Will this be for Liam Caplice's benefit? Will he get a good lap out of this one? He's sitting down in third at the moment. Does he jump up any higher? Not quite. So definitely some speed to be gained with the toes, but people are struggling to get it absolutely perfect. So a few drivers out there just struggling to get it working exactly how they want it to. But P3, not a bad position for tonight. Currently got Blake Urquhart up in P1, John Baldwin second, Liam Caplice in third, Brett Baker in fourth, and Sebastian Vardell in fifth at the moment.
So if you're out there watching, do jump into the chat and say hello. We like to have as much audience interaction as possible on these streams. You can jump in as well. Carl will no doubt have a quiz for us a little bit later on in the show, so do jump into that one as well. Let us know what you think the answers might be. I'm sure there's probably a fair bit of knowledge for Carl at Spa, so do stick around for that one as qualifying ends. So we will get into our first race here, and it is going to be Blake Urquhart who's going to be off P1, so just wait for them to jump onto the grid, and then we will jump on board and have a look at that. Waiting for things to turn over here. Once again, iRacing just wanting to play up a little bit. There we go. So we're back out on track now. So let's see how this one goes. The rolling start, of course, as you would expect in these cars. Let's bring the grid up on the screen. And it is going to be Blake Urquhart off P1 first. P1 obtainee, occupant for the AUSPASS 2 series, or Pass 2 as we'll probably end up just continually calling it. John Baldwin off the front row, then it's Liam Caplice and Brett Barker off row 2 with Sebastian Vardell and Scotty Rankin off row 3, then Nathan Varney and Andrew Goldman off row 4 with Shannon Fever, and we've got Hendrik Krzinga off row 5. Then it's Peter Hunter and Matty Johnson off row 6 as we flip over the page. And it is Max Stewart and Nick Buxton off 7, Jason Dunn, Nick Warnest off 8, Adam Wallen and Rodney Hobbs off 9 with Ben Pollock off row 10, Sam Lehman just in to observe. So that is our grid for the very first AUSPASS round, Pass 2 I should say. I'm going to keep saying that. It's a habit after 4 seasons of doing it, but we will get there. But it is going to be Blake Urquhart who leads us away here, just waiting for the pace car to set off. Safety car. Carl, I'm all over the place tonight. It's just a week for it. Hopefully I'll get myself together for tomorrow night.
You're going to have to put a reverse coin in tonight because you called it a pace car instead of a safety car. It's you usually get that one wrong in the opposite way, so good to see tonight.
It's just where we're at.
So some really good results out there and some nice liveries as well. Just looking across some of the paint schemes out there tonight. Jason Dunn, possibly one of my favourites out there tonight in the R8 inspired Audi. Very, very cool looking car down towards the back. Magnificent livery from the absolutely dominant Audis of the 2000 until pretty much when was the last one, 2017, 2016? So yeah,
I don't know, mate, you're telling the story.
The dominant years of Audi. I mean, they won 3 on the trot from that year, 2000 to 2003. I'm pretty sure it was straight wins for the Audi cars, of course. the open top prototypes, but we're about to go green here at Spa-Francorchamps for pass 2 for the very first time. It's going to be Blake Urquhart leading away, and we are green. Away we go. Liam Police jumps straight away, gets right down the middle there, making it 3 wide towards the first corner, and they are underway straight away. Liam Police getting a very good start there, managing to get out in front at the moment. Will he be able to keep it? Gets around the outside, very long section. Oh, we've got a car around in the background.
Andrew Goldman, Shannon Fever.
Unfortunately, yes, they've managed to get back underway, but they have lost a few positions there. Meanwhile, up at the front, it is Blake Urquhart in the lead as they go up through Eau Rouge and Radion for the very first time tonight in a race. Great job from everybody. We have got a car going wide up at the top of Radion, and that's going to be
Hendrik.
a incident.
There was Hendrik Kazinga there, who was off in the distance. How good do these cars look around this place? Unbelievable. Smile from ear to ear in this combox, that's for sure. As we're getting through, great bumper-to-bumper racing here. If they had bumpers at all, that's what it would be called, but they don't. And someone gets a little bit wide there, as it looks like it was Nathan Varney, I believe. He got a little bit wide there on the exit. Oh, this was a
and
car.
Scotty Rankin, big incident there. I saw Scotty Rankin in the air when I got home there. Looks like just behind him there was a car getting off the track, and Nathan Varney just got caught up in behind there, just caught Scotty Rankin in the rear as he spun it. Scotty Rankin going round by the looks of it, and then getting caught, and a big incident there. One of the cars going over and on top of the barriers, trying to figure out who that was.
Yeah, well, so big incident there for Scotty. He won't be happy about that at all, but we'll jump back on board with our leader, as this should be coming through now towards the straight. And they are indeed. Gotta get to know the names.
Peter Hunter getting caught up on top of the barriers. So that is the end of that night there, unfortunately. Once your car's on top of the barrier, it does not bode well for you. Meanwhile, up at the front of the pack, Liam Police has taken the lead of the race, just over Blake Urquhart, Brett Barker, John Baldwin and Sebastian Verdal in 5th position at the moment.
Yeah, pacey start. We've got a 15-minute race here. There's a second race coming up straight after this as well.
Brett Barker trying to make a bit of a move into the first corner, trying to go around the outside, doesn't quite make it. Is he going to be able to do the up and under? Can't quite make it this time. Should be able to use the draft as they go towards that big long straight of Kemmel and possibly make a little bit of an advantage here, but you've just got to keep the car settled through Eau Rouge and then on top over Radion, and make sure you don't lose the rear end, because that can be the devastating thing. Of course, the front pack get through there nice and clean, down towards the back as well through Eau Rouge once more they go, and they all look to have made it through this time. As up at the front, Urquhart is putting on the pressure on the police at the moment, really putting the pressure on through the set of corners there, just getting right up behind him as they go through the com and putting the pressure on at the moment, really piling it on Caplice, and he is absolutely holding them off. So good defensive driving here. That front pack of 5 have broken away at the moment. I got a good little gap over Matt Stewart, who has absolutely had a lightning start and made his way through the carnage, starting P13 up to P6 at the moment. Nick Linehouse as well up from P16 to P7, and Rodney Hobbs up from 18th position up to 8th. So some good starts towards the back, just keeping out of trouble.
On board here with Liam Caplice as he takes us on the back section of the track. We're getting to see it live on board here. Great pictures as well. You're on effectively on helmet cam, probably a little bit lower, but effectively on helmet cam as he makes his way on to the back straight. Probably a little bit closer to it. You can see there he's just pulled a little bit of a gap over Blake Urquhart, but he is going to be able to probably pull that up here as they head down towards the bus stop to complete another lap. Lap times here, best of a 2:18.67 by the man we're on board with there, as Urquhart closes right up on the back of him. See his teammate there put a move on. Sebastian Verdal has put a move on John Baldwin.
Gets loose on the exit, tapped I think Baldwin just managed to avoid the impact. It got very close there, just got really loose on the exit of the corner. Managed to just save it there for both of them. But that was one of those moments where it would have been big gulp, but they all managed to get through there somewhat okay.
Gasping for air. He's
As there was a little bit of contact a bit further back for Rodney Hobbs. He just got a bit of contact from, I believe it was Shannon Fever, just catching the brakes towards the bus stop and just got loose there. No, sorry, it was not Shannon Fever, sorry, it was Andrew Goldman. So just a little bit of contact spun those two round, but they are all back moving again. No major damage on the front of those vehicles.
Looks like Nathan Buxton there is just having an issue with the internet. Somewhere he's got a bit of a bent wing on the back there as there's a move on in front of him. So it looks like Rodney Hobbs has just got down underneath Nathan Varney in the Locked On Lads entry. And he's not going to stand for that. He's going to try and put the move back on here. He should just far enough up, be able to get it done, but not far enough up at all. So that is going to be a battle to continue to watch as Buxton blinks away in the background there. He been a few internet issues around Australia other than the normal ones this week. So he may be struggling with that a little bit as our race leaders make it up.
Yeah, they are trying to... They've really sort of formed a bit of a train at the moment. Well, there's a little bit of gap, but it's going to give them that little bit of drafting action down the straights. You can see them all trying to get out of each other's draft line, seeing if they can break the toe to each other, because they don't want to be towing each other down that... down the Blanchimont, into Blanchimont and down the straights in that section. And you can see Vardell is making a move. He's looking to make the move there, down on Brent Baker, tries the inside, he's going to make it through, tries his best, it's going to turn to the outside there. Brent Baker just keeps that car in the right position at the right time. The 66 doing a great job of defending. Very, very good driving there up at the front.
He's got his defender getting now down into turn one. As it looks like John Baldwin there trying to get the position back as well. He's got a bit of pace on at the moment, so not quite able to get through there, but great pictures here. Run up the hill. This chain, the lead two just breaking away. You can see there is a challenge for the lead now. As Blake Urquhart is going to defend heavily here. He's going to have to try and get around the inside. Can't hold that place there. Oh, it's too wide. Sebastian Vardell and Brett Barker there almost coming to contact. John Baldwin wanting to get involved with that one as well. So it's on still at the front here as we're halfway through this race. 15 minutes at Spa.
Brave stuff going too wide for your car. That is a tricky place, and now Blake Urquhart has his teammate right behind him, so that's going to be useful, and they could possibly put a bit of an attack on Varney now. John Baldwin's just going to have to try... John Baldwin and Brent Baker are just going to have to try and work together now a little bit just to keep on the tail of those two. They don't want to get them running away and lose too much speed here, so they've just got to sort of link it in with each other and just keep behind those two cars. Just use that draft to their advantage, use the tow, and try their best to keep locked onto the back of those cars so they don't start running away with it.
Yeah, most definitely. The trick here for Liam is going to be, can he open up a wide enough gap at the front to get out of the draft? It's going to be difficult.
Never an easy thing to do. Sometimes it's the worst place to be the leader, and you can see right now that they have got a lovely bit of slipstreaming there and trying to make it work through the bus stop side by side, but Caplice has got the good run there. Looked like Vardell just got a little bit loose on the exit. Once again, this is going to give Brett Baker the chance to get down the inside for the first corner, La Source, and he's going to get that position back possibly. Can't quite stick it this time round. Vardell just has a good exit. It's going to be too wide as they get towards La Source, as they get down towards that's scary stuff. When you get there, it's
I think it's getting renamed to Blanche Sauce next week.
Oh dear, mate. It's been one of those days. But look at this at the front. 5 cars with a tissue covering all of them. It's on again for the lead. Urquhart's trying to get it. Oh, it looks like there Brett Barker just got pushed a little wide. Or was it Sebastian? I couldn't quite tell. I think it was Sebastian there, got pushed a little bit wide.
Was indeed, and Urquhart has taken the lead. So Blake Urquhart taking the lead there. Good job there for him, just getting that move done. And they absolutely snatched that position off Liverpool Police, but now Liverpool Police will get that nice bit of draft down the straight. So can sort of sit there and just use that to his advantage to try and get that position back.
Not a millimetre of paint was traded there. He had 5 cars at the end. They're contesting. Any one of them could have ended up coming out in the lead, to be brutally honest, but they didn't even touch one another there, which was fantastic racing. That's why a lot of people love running these cars. Just get in and go. It's about driver skill, not about car setup.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Of course, fixed setup does mean it's pretty much an equal playing field, and you can change a couple of tiny things sometimes, you know, like brake bias and sort of just steering ratios and things like that, just minor things just for your taste. But other than that, it is pretty much the same for everybody. You can't go tweaking the downforce and stuff like that. And right now, the downforce is being used because they are getting a nice draft as they come in to the bus stop chicane once more. Side-by-side action again. You can see Liam Police trying to defend that position. Does a good job of keeping second place alive still, but this has let Blake Urquhart just get a little bit further away, get a nice bit of a lead and actually break away from the front of that pack, but going down the Kemmel Straight, that will soon disappear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but he's got a reasonably good break now. Sort of just starting to space out a bit.
Behind Brett Baker, John Baldwin going side by side through Eau Rouge. They are doing it. They're going side by side through Eau Rouge up to Radium. They both make it through, but Brett Baker makes it in front of John Baldwin. Great driving there. That is always a scary feeling. Side by side in that part of the track is not fun.
You see there, Lamka Police is trying to find a way to break the draft, but not lose too much to Blake Urquhart in front of him, but not quite able to make a move there. Didn't get far enough up for the bus stop. So he's got more work to do here, but he's in the better position, you'd have to say, at this stage of the race. We're definitely going to have one more lap.
Yeah, the next one will be the last lap, I think. Possibly?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, no, it'd definitely be the last lap. Definitely be the last lap, guys. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining on the session, and they're not around. So 2 minutes, 10 seconds the lap, basically, so they won't make it back around for 2.
Yes, so the white flag will be flying, and they will be getting ready for that final race lap. So Liverpool Police has got to do it this next time round, or this time round at least, to make it work. All 5 of these guys have got a chance to get this win tonight, and you know, it's a big thing to get when it's the first race of a series. It's the one you want to get generally.
It's looking here to see if he can get it done. It's trying to get up alongside him as we look to go 3 wide. That number doesn't fit into the bus. Oh, he runs a little deep there. It's opened the window a little bit, has it? No, it hasn't. He's done well. Liam Police to recover that one as we get the white flag. Get introduced to the flag marshal today. He is waving away there. Oh, and again, just running a little bit wide, Liam Police. What's going to happen here? Are they going to go 2 wide this time? Down. Looks like they're going to. I highly doubt that Caplice is going to pull out of this one as there's a crash in the background. We'll go back and have a look at that. It's 2 wide again. Oh, it's a little bit of a touch here. He's avoided the wall. Fantastic driving. Rejoins. He will get a slowdown for that one. So that's not going to help him. That's going to affect his race. But brave to go 2 wide through there, and it's opened the gap for Brett Barker to see if he can do anything to split the teammates at the front of this race on this final lap.
Yeah, just a little bit of netcode, I'd say, there from just looking back at that incident. There was no real major sort of contact. There was no contact visible, but it looked very much like a slight netcode issue, which is just where the lovely internet just plays up a little bit. There's a few battles going on behind as well, as John Dunn defends from Nathan Varney, Nick Van Haast as well. So there is a good little battle going on behind there. And then just sitting behind the lead pack, we've
Oh,
got
there it is
Matt.
there.
Oh, that's the big incident.
That was the replay there. So we head back live.
So that just allowed Jason Dunn just to get a little bit further ahead and become the leading car up in P8 for that little pack of cars that are fighting it out. Shannon Fever and Matt Stewart at the moment running 6th and 7th with their cars respectively. But it is up the front where keeping a bit of an eye at the moment as teammates Urquhart and Vardell are battling out. Will we have a beautiful team formation, or are they going to try to get that win? Are they going to race each other into that final corner? Looks like there might be a little bit of discretion coming in there. They just ease it through and get through perfectly, just stopping Brett Baker to get past. Brett Baker's going to get it on the line. Brett Baker gets a much better exit. This is going to be side by side as they cross the line. It's Brett Baker that takes these P2 there just by a fly's wing. Absolutely nothing.
5 100ths. He takes P2. Just the exit there for Vardell, not as good, and Barker scoots through to take
And
P2.
Behind Jason Dunn, battling it out with Nathan Varney. Those two are side by side as they get across the line, but it is Dunn going to be taking P8 there. So very close.
Even
behind
closer.
Varney.
Goodness me. What a finish at the front there. Fantastic driving from all those. That leading 5, fantastic race all the way through. So, just have a look there at the results. It was Blake Urquhart, Brett Barker and Sebastian Van Del taking out the podium for the first race of Pass 2 here at Spa. There will be a very, very short warm-up, as there always is, to change over the session. And then we'll be into race 2, another sprint race here in the Radicals. My goodness me, if that's what Pass 2 has to bring, imagine what we're going to see in the main game. That is fantastic racing that we've just been fortunate enough to have a look at. Scotty, how obviously not ideal to have a start like that, but how was the track conditions otherwise?
Good. I used it as a warm-up session effectively for the second race. I mean, I'm out there, I'm still turning laps because of the incident that happened on the last lap. I obviously gained 3 spots, so well, at the end of the day, I'm really happy. I'm really comfortable with the car. I think all that happened there was I think I just downshifted too early and stiff locked the car and swung the rear around. I was trying to react to the guy in front of me. I can't even recall who it was. Had a little bit of a gap there and an opening and an overlap to go down the inside, and I was trying to get, and then all of a sudden he just sort of cut across my nose a little bit, and I overreacted to it. So yeah, it is what it is.
It happens. It does happen. So, of course, we're at Spa this week. Next week, we're going to have a look at Sebring, which is fantastic. Just so we have a quick chat about the calendar. And that's going to be our first GT3 round. So, Sebring, an amazing track to go to. And that's when we'll have a full GT3 field, Carl.
Yeah, very much so. And GT3's at Sebring. Oh, that's a fantastic sight to see. You always want that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a commentator's choice. It wasn't. I had nothing to do with it. We had nothing to do with it. But it's one of the ones that I think we're looking forward to. In addition to Mid-Ohio, we've got Zolder, of course, Bathurst, the Hungaro Ring, which we'll get to see. So there's plenty on the calendar this season to keep us entertained. And of course, we do have these 2 sessions to bring you every Tuesday night.
Look, in terms of history of the league as well, I can just fondly recall the race that we had at Sebring back in season 1. I remember Luke Bergen's really throwing it out there and being aggressive in that McLaren and then coming unstuck as the McLaren was wont to do at Sebring. I mean, it's about riding bumps. It's about keeping everything smooth.
Yeah,
that was a cracker of a race back in season 1.
Yep, I had forgotten about that, but you're absolutely spot on. He dominated it, and then
threw it away, I think, with a couple laps to go. Yeah,
just fell victim to the issues that car has. But look, our warm-up session is done, so we are going to get back out on track. And this one here, no reverse grid, no funny business in this race. So it is.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure there's a reverse grid.
There is top 10.
Oh, there is top 10. Yes. Top 10. Sorry, not top 15. So no, I'm not sure.
They're right there. I can reach out and touch them. I won't. I might.
So
I'll try not to.
Reverse grid finishing order. So Andrew Goldman's going to be taking pole with Nathan Varney on P2. Then it's Jason Dunn and Shannon Fever on the second row, with Matt Stewart and John Baldwin on the third. Fourth row is Liam Caplice and Sebastian Vardal. And then for P9 and 10, it's Brett Barker and, of course, Blake Urquhart, the winner there. And then everybody else will be starting from their finishing positions. So Adam Whalen and Ben Pollock. Then Nick Buxton and Scotty Rankin. Nick Wernhorst and Rodney Hobbs. And Peter Hunter and Hendrik Kranziger. So we will see a field of 18 cars out there, which is a fairly decent pack of the little radicals. So exciting to see how this one goes. And we'll get a new starting grid as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just starting to peel away now. So we might do something that we haven't been able to do. We might get Scotty, if you don't mind. We'll jump on board with you. And we might get you to ride on board with you for the start of the race. I might not get you to call the start of the race from on board. That might be a little bit harsh to extend you there,
we'll
mate.
See how we go. But yeah, if you guys can call it, I'll try and not bungle this one, eh?
I'll leave it up to you, Carl.
And away we go. I'll leave it to Scotty.
Well, I don't think Scotty's going to call it. It's gone green here. To the spin. To the right, Scotty. To the right. To the right. To the left.
Getting caught in the rear. Just getting caught right up the rear by Jason Dunn by the looks of it. That is an unfortunate one. A lot of cars caught up in that one. That was disastrous start there.
Oh, mate. Heart rate's up already, I'll tell you what.
Luckily you weren't calling that, Scotty. You wouldn't know where to go. But, as Varney goes off as well. He's gone into the sky. That is a huge
car. That is a disastrous crash.
I hope he's not in VR. He will be depositing everywhere.
I've got a feeling that he is a VR driver, so
dear me.
That is very unfortunate. I was talking to a couple of his colleagues today, and I'm pretty sure he does race in VR, so that is very unfortunate. There are a lot of damaged cars out there.
Well, what's that?
Brett Baker
yeah, I was going to say.
Taken the lead, and
Liam Caplice.
Liam Caplice.
So it resumes at the front here. We've got Matty Stewart in third after all of that, with Jason Dunn in fourth. Peter Hunter comes through in fifth right behind him. Ben Pollock, Nick Warnest, and then we have Scotty Rankin as well. So it worked out reasonably well.
It is Jason Dunn having a big moment as he comes out of... whereabouts are we?
It was to Patron, yeah.
Just towards Patron. He's just got on the little bit of rumble strip, a bit too hard, accelerated too hard, and just spun it. So unfortunate for Jason Dunn there. He got into the back by somebody at the start, and that sort of was the lead of that incident. So I'm just waiting for everything to update on my side, because after all of that excitement, my timing screen is an absolute mess.
I think it's Ian has just come on and asked if we can call Hendrik Hendo Zingerberger. So we can certainly do that. We don't mind a bit of that sort of activity on the stream. Thanks for joining us. Makes our job a little bit easier as well, to be honest. If it's Hendo Zingerberger, we'll give him that one until he tells us not to.
That does make my life slightly easier, I must admit. He's doing very well at the moment. Zingerberger is up in P8, so Hendo Zingerberger up in P8 at the moment.
He's got a bit of damage.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage on the front of him. Just ahead of Sebastian Vardal, and he's just behind Scotty Rankin at the moment. So the BWT bright pink livery on that car. Very much reminder of the old days of the Force India, of course, before it was rebranded. But up the front, we've got a big move going for P1. It's Liam Caplice on Brett Baker. They are back at it. Caplice is side by side. He's got the inside line here as they come up towards Lacombe, and Caplice is a little bit later on the brakes. Gets that move done nice and early.
Yeah, he's done well there to get through. Nice, easy move for him in the end. Plenty of room given by Brett Barker.
And Scotty Rankin making a move as Sebastian Vardal just gets sideways behind him. Contact there. Sebastian Vardal just taking a little bit too much speed into the corner. Gets into the 86 of Ben Pollock, unfortunately. Ben Pollock just really the innocent passenger in that one. Gets absolutely caught out with that one.
Looking off backwards off the right-hand front guard of Scotty Rankin just to have a look at behind him at Nick Warnest. He's trying
How's my hair?
get that position. It looks very good, actually, Scotty. Very good indeed.
Can you tell? Oh, I've got the dark visor. I'm sorry. I should have thought about that.
The only issue there is that piece of your car that's hanging off. But other than that,
that's
no,
what I
very
was
good.
wondering.
Very good.
Is it damaged, and how badly is it damaged?
No, not at all, mate. It is looking pristine. We'll leave you to it.
Because I've had 2 separate 4Xs just from cars trying to fire in very close. So she's a little bit of door banging this time, but I don't half mind that.
No,
That reminds you of your NASCAR days.
So it looks like Peter Hunter here is trying to make a move on Matt Stewart for P3. These two nose to tail. To head down towards the bus stop. Somebody going to be brave. They are indeed. Peter Hunter chucks it up the inside there. It looks like he's going to get the move done. He's got to get back across to defend, and he does. Closes that one out, moves himself up into P3. 14 positions gained for Peter Hunter. What a great start for him.
Good run so far. The Link Police out in front. Makes a mistake going into first corner, into La Source. Gets it round a little bit. This is going to give Brett Baker the chance to make a run. They're going to be side by side once again, going down to Eau Rouge. But Brett Baker just managed to slide it in front this time of Lincoln Police. Lincoln Police is going to follow up through the twisty section over the top of Radion and onto the Kemmel Straight. Not a bad position for Lincoln Police to be. He's going to get a nice toe right here. Just behind him, Peter Hunter just keeping Matt Stewart just behind him at the moment. But Stewart's going to get a good run here. Gets out a little bit too early, possibly. That might be a little bit of a mistake, just getting out that soon, because you're not going to get full advantage there. But will he make the move work? He's going to have the inside line here. Doesn't quite make it work that time.
A little bit of traffic coming up as well with, I think that might be Nathan Varney coming up to the race
Varney's
leaders.
Just lost the rear.
Oh, yes.
He's managed to save it there. Obviously feeling a bit dizzy still after that big tumble, but just keeps it going. Meanwhile, Peter Hunter's just been caught out, unfortunately. Matt Stewart's just caught the back of Hunter, and just the slightest little tag there, and Hunter's gone round. So unfortunate for him. That's dropped him down just behind Scotty Rankin. So Scotty Rankin up to P4 now.
I think with Nathan Varney, I'm not sure that you don't need to present your passport on the way back down. He went so high up in the air there, so...
Yeah, I think he managed to travel between Germany and Holland in the same trip with that big flip. So he's been to pretty much every country that borders Belgium, bar France.
What's the COVID restrictions on that one, boys?
Well, he certainly would have had to say something, Scotty. You're heavily involved in a race here, mate. You might want to focus. Peter Hunter here, looking really pacey behind you.
He's going to draft me. I think the goal here is to work together on both of these 2 major straights, because if we can slingshot, we've got a really good chance of hunting these guys ahead of us down. So,
yeah, I'm not sure if Peter's thinking that, but anyway, we'll leave you to it.
See if they can get a bit of working together happening there. There's a little bit of damage on the back of Peter Hunter.
Yeah.
Nick Van Haas making a move on... Who was that? Sorry. On Sebastian Vandal. So it's those two battling away at the moment. So Nick Van Haas and Vardell battling it out, and Vardell has just got ahead. So nice move there from Vardell and recovery drive.
Man, these things look fun. Plenty of squirt, handle, brake well. Great racing.
And the police is again trying to make the move up the front. Doesn't quite have the speed. But again gets right to the back of Brett Baker there. Really trying to make the pass at the moment. Can't make it happen this time round. But Limca Police is desperately trying to get a win right here. Really, really hungry looking out there.
Yeah, absolutely. He is. And why not? Start of the season. Season 5. But he wants to get that win. Particularly after the last race. He did drop back to P5, having been in the contest at the front the whole way through. So we wanted to try and convert this one, but so will Brett Barker, who managed to snag that P2. If he wins this, he'll be the round winner, you would suspect.
I think Liam Police sitting in a good spot at the moment. But yeah, as you say, Brett Barker had a good race last time out. Really strong finish obviously it's Liam Caplice finished down in P4 last race, so yeah, Brett Barker is looking really good at the moment.
Yeah, this will get him the round win.
Really good run.
Yeah, we'll get him the round win, so he'll be may not be aware of that. I don't know. When you're driving, you sometimes have one eye on the prize, but at the moment he's got a lock up there. He's got 2 wing mirrors full of the number 9 entry, the ILEC entry of Liam Caplice. We've got probably 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go here, including this one. So it's got a bit of time yet to get it done.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight race up the front, and the battle's still going on behind them as well, with Peter Hunter and Scotty Rankin as well. And those two are getting very close at the end of the lap, getting very close to each other. And Scotty Rankin just getting a little bit tight on the grass last time round as they're getting into the bus stop. Managed to pull it up though, but very, very close. Meanwhile, up front, Liam Caplice is trying to make the move for P1. Again, can't quite make it down towards Lecombe. Can't quite make the move into that corner. Brett Baker is doing a fantastic job of defending at the moment. Matt Stewart sitting there just in 3rd position. Can't really close up on those guys ahead of him, but has got a nice big gap behind him to Peter Hunter and Scotty Rankin, battling it out for P4, P5. Sebastian Vardell is doing a good job of trying to catch up, but has got a lot of time to make up to try and get close to this battle. About 6 or so seconds between himself and Scotty Rankin. Nick Van Horst in 7th, Blake Urquhart in 8th, 9th is Adam Balin, and Shannon Fever in P10 at the moment.
Just a reminder there, complete Liam running the Lamborghini last season. So it's got the Radical Hero liveried up. Like that, it's got the FGM Cast logo on the nose. Don't mind staying here for a couple of minutes just to appreciate that. But no,
these are the new FGM E-Cast Radical, of course.
Absolutely. But no, good pictures here again. You can just appreciate how fast this feels. And these cars flat out through here. One of the best corners in World Motorsport, that one. At this track.
Getting up to about 240 kilometers per hour down these straights here. You know, these things are wickedly fast. You know, it feels fast because it is fast.
Looks like it was John Baldwin. I think maybe they're just touring the bus shelter, perhaps you might call it, the area behind the bus stop. So
having a sneaky smoke behind the bus shelter, it looks like.
Absolutely, no. It's just obviously run deep.
Scotty Rankin has managed to make the pass on Peter Hunter. So those two going side by side through Blanchimont and absolutely keeping it nailed. Scotty Rankin just managing to make that pass now. And is going to try and pull it out as they go up Fluto Rouge and across Radion. But now Scotty Rankin has got Hunter all over the back of him, and he's going to get that draft right now. A little bit of damage on the rear wing of Hunter. You can see Hunter's already side by side. Get a little bit of advantage from the side draft for a moment, but he's going to start stalling out a little bit. See Scotty just getting right underneath there, just tucking a little bit. He's going to have the inside line here. Brakes a little bit later, and Peter Hunter's going to get that position. And look at how close they're getting. Scotty Rankin really trying to get caught up on the curb. He manages to save it though somehow. Scotty Rankin just saves it there by the skin of his teeth.
That is not on. That's 3 braking zones that he's forced me onto the grass. That's not on, lads.
Very close racing there. Yeah, it looks like he was really putting up a strong defence.
I was probably going to have to yield the corner to him anyway. That's fine. I have no problem with having to yield the corner to him. I don't enjoy once is a mistake. 3 times, that's not a mistake, is my thoughts on that one. But that's what we have a protest system for, and that's what I'll be going through and utilising the most of. And that's what we want to get out of AUSPASS as well, is that, look, at the end of the day, Pass 2 especially isn't for the drivers that have qualified into Pass 1. So, you know, there is going to be a little bit of learning process, and this is wildcard week. So, you know, mistakes are going to be made, and
makes it that little bit harder, of course, because everybody's out here to drive the GT3s, and you're out here in a Radical instead, and that's a very different car to drive. Sometimes you've not driven it in anger, and that can really throw you off a little bit. So it's the thing about the wildcards in the series, it does add a little bit of extra flavour. Meanwhile, Brett Barker is going to be leading just ahead of Liam Caplice. Those two still battling it out, trying to get the lead of this race. Liam Caplice just sitting there, just sitting back thinking, oh, I want this win so much, but can't do much about it. Brett Baker just thinking, oh, I can get a win here and a P2. This is going to be a very good start to the season for me.
Yeah, white flag is out, so this will be the last lap of the race, last lap of the second race of Pass 2 here on FGM eCast. We're going to give a big shout out to our sponsors in a minute as well. Of course, they've got a whole raft of them once again this season, supporting the leading GT3 series, what do you think, in Australia? So as it continues to grow and develop, but plenty of pressure put on here by Liam Caplice now. He knows he's probably going to get one or two opportunities left to get this done. We did see out of the last corner, of course, a change for P2 in the first race. So Barker here, his job is just to make sure he minimises the wheel spin, focuses on the track in front of him, doesn't spend too much time watching in his mirrors to try and defend, because that is one surefire way to run wide. Just miss your brake marker enough that you open the gate. He's been quick enough so far this race to keep in front of Liam Caplice. That's all he needs to do. He's got half a lap to go here, a little under half a lap to go here, as we start to head down towards the back straight of this famous circuit. Got to figure, Carl, I reckon if he holds him out into the run into the bus stop, he's probably going to get the job done if he can get the drive out of the final corner. Police is looking pacey.
Look at Police just taking the extra bit of road through that last section, just trying to get a little bit more straight line speed. Caplice is going to make a bit of a dive into the bus stop here. You can see it coming. Caplice is right on the back here. He's got that nice slipstream. Thinking about it, where does he want to go? Which side is he going to try and go? Barker's held the inside line, but that's going to turn to the outside line. They're going to be side by side as they come out the corner. Little bit of wheel spin.
They've both gone round.
Liam Caplice makes contact, catches Barker, and he's going to slow down to allow him past.
Well done,
Very
Liam Caplice.
Sportsmanlike behaviour there. That is a sportsmanlike move there, and very well done.
Well done, Liam Caplice.
Matt Stewart's going to come home in P3 with Peter Hunter in P4. Scotty Rankin will come home P5, and Sebastian Varnell will come home a strong P6. With race 1 winner Blake Urquhart behind him, so those teammates keeping very close to each other once again. Good result for those guys, and they've had a fairly decent race. Obviously got caught up a little bit in some of the early melee, but a good first race there. Nick Van Haas coming home in 8th, and should be Shannon Fever towards 9th. So just coming through the final chicane now, and you'll see that blue and orange car, that very pretty looking car, coming out of the corner right now to cross the line. And teammate Adam Valen just behind him.
What a finish from them there. That was fantastic. Not sure who it is. Smith Racing XL 92. Gutted he's working tonight. Would have loved to have a run in this. Well, absolutely. So what a cracking race that was. So we'll have the drivers jump into the chat in a moment or two. We're just going to jump off here. We're going to change over to the server. So it will say... the screen will go dark, but we will be just jumping across to the main feature race. That'll take us just a moment or two, but the driver interviews will be coming up. So what are we looking for out of this now, Carl? We've got a main feature race coming up with the
whole host of new drivers.
Whole host of new drivers.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing a very different car in there as well with the DPI.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot more for the drivers to contemplate in terms of making sure that they get everything done. Sorry, that background hasn't worked there as well, just to add on to the usual things of the night. That won't be the normal case. But yeah, of course, we've got a whole host of new drivers as well. So one of the things we spoke about last season was how close things maintained themselves in terms of the driver competitiveness but respect as well being shown throughout the race. So it may be that we see a little bit of fireworks tonight with some of the new drivers getting used to themselves. Thanks, Tim, for the nice desktop comment, mate. There, no dramas at all. So it's that's one of the things that the drivers are going to have to get used to is a new field of drivers to compete with. Of course, we've got a lot of drivers in the series who have been involved in this for all 5, well now the 5th season starting, but all 4 seasons beforehand. Think of the likes of like Daniel Webster and the like. Jeff Connell, of course, one of the mainstays of the championship. So there's plenty of drivers who are going to be involved tonight who are plenty used to running with those around them, and it can take a little while to trust those other drivers who are running with you to make sure that you know that they're going to do the right things where they're there. So Age of Empires, Funzo, yes, absolutely, it is a good game. So I'm interested. I'm going to be interested to see how that pans out across probably the next couple of weeks, because of course they're going to get used to it today, but then next week we're in a completely different set of cars. So and a completely different set of cars. We're not sticking with the same GT3s from last season. We've broadened the brands available to the drivers as well, and that can introduce its own challenges because, of course, the cars drive differently. So what do you think we're going to see tonight? Do you think we're going to see conservative racing? Do you think we're going to see aggressive racing? Maybe some people trying to assert their authority?
Look, when has a racing driver ever not driven aggressive? That's my question there, because drivers tend to have a little bit of aggression to them. They do like to assert dominance. That's one of the big things, of course. They like to show who's boss. They like to show that they're quick first of all as well. And I think we're going to see a lot of that tonight. There'll be that little part of trying to see who's the quickest, who can actually get these cars around. Of course, these are different to the GT cars, of course, and also difference this season as well is the there's that sort of split between the cars in the if I can get my words out, with the wildcard round, a completely different car than they're used to driving, so they're going to want to try and show off their skills in these prototype cars, in the DPI, in the Radical, just to show who is quick in these. They might be a little bit slower, say, in the GT car. They might be an AM or something, but they might know that they're quicker in an LMP, for instance. So there might be a few people just trying to show off and see if they can actually assert a little bit of dominance and just get a good start to their season in that respect. But the big thing is it is a season, so you do have to sometimes just be a little bit careful and make sure not to make any mistakes, because you have got a lot of racing to go on from there.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go ahead and apologize to you guys. Unfortunately, I've had my first COVID vaccine today, and I'm not feeling 100% after being in the car, so I'll leave you guys with it for tonight.
No dramas at all, Scotty. So we've got the grid to jump up on the screen here, and we will do just that. It is round 1 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series here on FGM eCast, and it is going to be Jack Boyd and Luke Turner who are on the front row of the grid. Matty Caglioni popping up into 3rd with John Merritt in 4th, and we've got Jeff Connell, Lachlan Capel off row 3 with Andre Heimgartner and Dave Roberts off row 4. Then it's Matty Andrews and Daniel Cheney off 5 with Dustin Fletcher and Scotty Gray off row 6. And as we flip over the page, it's James Majock, and we've got Josh Fitt with Glenn Boyd, Tim Harris off 8, James Pettigrew and Hugh McLaughlin off 9, with Joe Potts and Arma Sharma off row 10. Then Angus Chappell and Jeffrey Wang off 11, with Zach Wentz-Smith and Paul Mansell off 12. Starting to get into the mix. Jordan Peter, Tim Audie off 13, Guy Leach, Maverick Benson off 14, then it's Widders and Johnson off 15 with Rodell and Ruwalt off 16, then Hen and Webster off 17, Court and Bond off 18. And then as we get through, it is Buchanan Hayes with Fitt and Audie, then it's Brookfield, 11, Carpenter, Derek Audie, Mitchell Bolton, Sam Lehman, Aaron Raccanello, and then it is Hayden Jackson rounding out the 48 starters here tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. It's going to be an exciting one. Of course, as well, the other thing this season is the AMs are going to be in the Radicals, of course, and the Pros will be in the DPI. So that's a different format to what we had last year, where it was just choose your own adventure almost. So it's that's going to make things a little bit different tonight. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. So these LMP2s, my goodness, what a machine. So expect this to be really, really close racing here. And if you thought you enjoyed what you saw in Pass 2, you're going to get set for more of it with a really, really strong field of drivers from 23 down in those radicals. They are going to be ridiculously quick. There's some names in there that I'm familiar with who are new to the series, and some of those guys can absolutely turn a wheel. If they couldn't, they wouldn't be in this series, so they would have not qualified at all. So here we are, and it is going to be Jack Boyd leading us away at the front of the field with Luke Turner
in front. So we're going to get ready to go green here. They're going to come around the bus stop for the first time, and then we'll be coming across the line. It's going to be Jack Boyd leading the way. Gets a good start, but just behind him, Matty Carleone gets an even better one. Matty Carleone getting a fantastic launch there. How's it going to go into the first corner? That's going to be where the trouble's happening, and we've already got trouble down towards the bus stop as some of the radicals have got caught up, unfortunately. There's a big incident down towards the bus stop already, and a few cars are on there, just been rolled over a little bit, but they have managed to get it back going. Meanwhile, getting up through Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time tonight. Looks like the front pack have managed to make it through pretty clean at the moment. No major incidents that I can see as we look down the field. All of the prototypes are running. And if we look down to the radicals, it is Paul Mansell just in the lead as it stands in the radicals. So the radicals absolutely all over each other.
Everywhere down there. It looks like there might have been a check-up as well in the LMPs. A few changes of positions. So we'll go back and check through that.
A big moment for Luke Turner, I believe. Luke Turner dropping way Chunga Toyota as he gets into the 222 there. Big moment, and that is Zach Wentz-Smith.
Oh, and as he's rejoined as well, there's going to be a big check up here. Hopefully people can avoid it. They've got to stay there. Just stay still. Don't go anywhere. Just hold on. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. What are you doing? Oh, he's got around just in time there. And it looks like Wentz-Smith jumped back into pit lane. That was challenging. That's probably the word for it. Timothy Hancock says, go the cows. Absolutely. We're moving for them right now, Tim.
It's just you're just milking it now, Stuart. Luke Turner just getting a little bit wide as he was coming out of Lacombe. He just got onto the gravel, and then there was a huge checkup behind him, and that's sort of what caused that incident to happen up there. So unfortunately for those guys. But we have got a race going on up the front as they are pretty much free wide. You can see them just getting cut across the bus stop chicane there. Matty Carleone's managed to keep it just in front of John Merritt, Lachlan Capel, Jeff Connell, Dave Roberts, Andrew Heimgartner. It's pretty much a who's who of the AUSPASS series. There are so many up there at the moment, it's hard to actually say all the names.
There's a fair amount of damage there as well on the front of Glenn Boyd's car. He just got caught up at the end of up into the bus stop there with Andrew Hayes and Jeffrey Wang. Looks like they've continued to have a few issues. But at the front here, it is status quo. Jack Boyd out in front. Good opportunity as we see John Merritt there just having a dance around in the background. To mention major sponsor simrigs.com for the series, and of course Echuca Toyota as well on these, adorning these two cars, running second and third, both of them sponsoring again. I thank them very much for their help, along with Computer Technology Corporation, HJ Plant Repairs, 93PC and Phoenix Smokers, all on board for this series this year. So do support the people that support the stream. Jump onto the website and have a look at those businesses. Give them the business where you can.
Yes, fantastic businesses out there that are helping us help bring you this fantastic action, which is something we always love to do. So really looking forward to this season, because we've already seen some drama, and it's only going to start from here. Really, it's been a great start so far, and we know how the season goes. It's just going to get more and more as it goes on. But great racing out there as well. We've seen side by side action from people. A couple of small incidents, but that will settle down as people just get the tyres up to temperature as they get settled into the race. Meanwhile, Jordan Peters leading the the radical class, should say, down there in P20 at the moment. Sorry, P19 now, actually, overall. But the first of the radicals at the moment. Doing a really good job there, the 49. Jack Widders just behind, trying to catch up with Maverick Benson. and Matthew Johnson, and then 5th place is James Ripwold. So good run for Ripwold as well. Meanwhile, up front in the prototypes, we have Jack Boyd in the lead, Matty Cardleone, John Merritt, Dave Roberts, and Andrew Heimgartner in P5.
I was just about to say, I don't think the old cow livery could look any better, but have a look at it on the LMP2. It's just stretched out there nicely. Bessie looking very splendid in the shimmering evening light at Spa. So looking fantastic behind the new Batmobile. Look at that thing as well. Never has a Batmobile moniker looked any more suitable than on Jeff Connell's LMP2.
Yeah, it looks utterly fantastic on Scott's Gray's car, so very, very good livery.
It might be. Oh no, there is a stripe on Andre's car. I was thinking maybe we've got yin and yang there with the black and white vehicles, but as you can just see there, one of the radicals just down there getting past, unfortunately. That's going to happen around here with the speed difference between the two cars. Around about 10 seconds a lap.
Yeah, about 10 seconds a lap, pretty much. Bang on that. So the fastest time for the prototypes was pretty much a two-minute lap. And for the radicals, it was about 2 minutes 11. So it's about 10 second, 11 second sort of lap time difference, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but it sure as heck is. When you get one of these things flying up beside you, the speed difference and the closing speed is just utterly insane.
So we're on board now with one of the newcomers, Amar Sharma. He's just in front of Tim Harris in the Locked On Lads entry. We've got Lachlan Capel just behind them as well, so Lockie jumping up into the pro category for this season. As he grabs a bit of curb there, does Armour, but keeps it going. That's going to give Tim Harris an opportunity to potentially get down underneath him here under brakes. Decides against it, jumps back into the draft. You can see Lachlan Capel a little bit further back there. Joe Potts, Luke Turner, Angus Capel, as well as Daniel Cheney. So few of the old and the new. This is the battle here for P11.
You would have noticed as well, just up the field, you would have just caught it slightly. Jeff Connell getting passed by Matt Andrews and Scott Gray. So Jeff Connell losing a couple of spots there in that final sector. So just losing a few spots instantly. Good drive from Timothy Harris to get up into the pro category, of course. He was the 3rd place AM driver last season and set a fantastic lap time getting him up into the pros this year. So good job on his behalf, just getting past Armin Shaman there. So Timothy Harris on the move in the Locked On iRacing car.
How's the onboard view out of one of these? This is the LMP2 we're riding with here of Jeff Connell. That's pretty much it. That's what you get to see. So
that's more than you get to see from the driving position here,
absolutely.
almost, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if we can jump on. Actually, we do. I think we do have that position. No, we don't, because it's such a new car. We haven't got the camera angle mapped, but there's not a lot to see out of these Delaras. They're actually, this car's only been on iRacing now just over 12 months. It was a COVID 2020 release from iRacing, so they are a fantastic piece of kit.
Yeah, very much so. The Delara chassis, of course, these things are just so cool. They're a very, very different beast, of course, but it is a very different style of car. And the sort of prototype racing as well, it's changed so much over the years. It is a very different style of racing than it used to be. Jack Boyd coming into pit lane. So he is the first stop up the front, and he has got a whole group of cars coming with him. So it looks like they are pretty much running on fumes at the moment. So I don't think anybody is keeping it out there, are they? No. Jeff Connell making me a liar with Matt Andrews and Ahmed Shamar there, keeping it out there. Luke Turner as well, keeping it out too. So a few drivers just keeping it out for one more lap. And they're just going to take that little bit of, possibly a little bit of pain and just keeping the revs down a little bit just to save a little bit of fuel, but they'll be able to make a much quicker stop and take on a little bit less time. So it's a bit of strategy call right here. See how this one works out for them, as Jeff Connell making a move on Matt Andrews there. Jeff Connell's decided it's go time and is absolutely flogging it. So he is really putting in some pace now in the Batmobile.
Yeah, so just getting that extra lap, as you said. So we'll see how this plays out. See if you can get quicker and make up a couple of positions for the undercut on this lap through. Pit lane time, or stationary time in pit lane, just under 10 seconds for these cars. So Connell will definitely be under that, with that little bit of less fuel that he's going to need to take. But it will be Jack Boyd who we're watching to see how far behind him Jeff Connell comes out. We're expecting him to come out probably in around about P5 or 6, as Matt Andrews has an issue. Maverick Benson in the meantime has taken the lead in the AM class. Lost Maverick, current team championship winner from season 4. So he'll be looking for a good start to his season 5 campaign. He's got Jordan Peter and Matty Johnson behind him, with newcomer James Ruwalt as well. He's running up in P4 ahead of Daniel Webster, who is the defending champion of the AM class. In fact, multiple champion. He is back-to-back champion of the AM class, so we'll see how he goes this season, see if he can take out the treble, as Jeff Connell and Luke Turner are into pit lane.
Going back to look at Matt Andrews, sorry, 'cause I've got a feeling he might have had either a technical issue or may have run out of fuel. So Matt Andrews ran out of fuel. He took that risk going that extra lap, and it did not pay off for Matt Andrews. He ran out of fuel. That car started coughing and spluttering, so he had to turn it back to pit lane.
Oh, right, okay, there you go. I was surprised.
So that's how tight it was on fuel there.
Obviously, Jeff Connell, a master of fuel saving, and I wondered as well, Armour Sharma there has run out of fuel as well, so went with Connell on the basis they might get there. I did hear when we were on board with Jeff Connell there that he was fuel saving, so he must have got there by the drip of an oily rag. The other's just not quite making it.
Yeah, that it's a risky play, and Luke Turner made it as well, just made it work, but only the 2 drivers making that long strategy work. Obviously, they're saving a little bit of fuel in reserve for that whole race. They knew what they were doing, and just taking a little bit of a risk early on and seeing if they could make it work. And it did save them a little bit of time in pit lane, at least for Luke Turner, I believe, because I think Jeff Connell had a little bit of a slow pit stop. So just looking now, so didn't actually save any time. So no, I lie, it did not save many time. They both had a little bit of slow pit stops there. Maybe took a little bit more. Maybe, that would be weird if they took a little bit more fuel on, because they were both slower than the rest of the field. So they were a good second or so slower than the rest of the field. So unless they know something that everybody else doesn't, then they have made a little bit of a mistake there.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, if they needed to take on more fuel than everybody else, everyone else stopped a lap before, so you're going to have a whole heap of cars either pulling into pit lane or running out of fuel. What a camera angle that is. This car's just come across the fastest corner on the track. We are watching Jeff Connell here. I'm going to jump around a little bit. We'll have a look at some of the other new drivers who've joined the field, as well as say hello to some of our returning drivers. So got Miles Bond, who's jumped in as well. So Miles, a real life racer as well as a sim racer. So he's currently up 14 positions, P22 in the AM class. Just looking to make a move if he can on Christopher Henn, who's returning to the series again for another season on the outside here. They head down into the bus stop. Miles probably going to get this one done, you'd figure. And he does indeed.
Wait for that one to pass, because I'd say jump to the front of the Radical pack, because Maverick Benson has got John Peter all over the back of him with the Red Roo liveried car. I like it. I like a little bit of pun there. I love slightly fake advertising like that, because that really makes me smile. And just behind him is Jordan Peter. So there are 3 drivers absolutely on it right now at the front, and that battle is very much on as it stands. So keep an eye on that battle, because that is getting really close.
Now we're looking out the back wing here of Maverick Benson. You can see the Red Roo entry just there on alongside him. So Maverick will like his chances here, because he's got the inside line. He can't close it out? And he does. So he's going to be able to defend that position. But as you say, Jordan Peter coming through as well. And in fact, Jordan Peter closing up on the back of Johnson. Oh, as Johnson gets loose there, Matty Johnson is just going to duck down to the inside, try and defend that position from Jordan Peter. We'll stick back here. Just keep an eye on what goes on. See if he can get that done. Just gets out of the corner a little better than Peter does, so it means he can open that gap up again. He's got to try and chase now, if he can, to get this one done. Got 5 minutes to go here in this race before our main feature race coming up straight after this one. And Red Rouge just having to do some defending.
The most famous of Australian energy drinks, of course. Really gives you a kick in the morning. Gets you hopping down the street, some would say.
Oh, wow.
Jack Paul has got a fairly decent lead of about 2 seconds at the moment out front, in front of Matty Cardleone and John Merritt. Dave Roberts in 4th and Andrew Heimgartner in 5th at the moment. But we've got some good battles going on throughout the field. It's just keeping an eye on where the biggest battle is at the moment. And you've got to say, Jeff Connelly's trying to make a bit of a move on Scotty Gray as it stands, with Dustin Fletcher just behind him as well. So there is a little bit of a battle starting to pick up there. The Mad Cow liveried Scotty Gray just in front of the Batmobile of Jeff Connell, with Dustin Fletcher in the Race Lab. Beautiful, beautiful red and black liveried car there.
These Radicals obviously able to run a fair bit further. They've just jumped into pit lane now. So we've got all of our leaders in the race just all jumping into pit lane.
That's the beauty of a motorbike engine. It uses a little bit less fuel.
Absolutely it does.
But yeah, obviously it's a slightly lighter car. A little bit smaller engine, just a 2-litre engine, of course, even though it is a V8, but a little bit less fuel used, and obviously they fuel them a little bit longer for this race, so they have a little bit longer fuel on them. I think that's pretty much the whole field now come in for their pit stop, so that's everybody but Glenn Senna-Riddell come in, I believe, so Senna-Riddell sticking it out there for the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just having a look here, trying to work out who's going what. We've got a whole heap more of these LMPs come in. So they're
they made a mistake.
Heavily fuel restricted because Connell is going to be all good.
Well, we saw Connell made it an extra lap and he put more fuel in there. He was stationary for a lot longer, and I think
it's a huge mistake.
I think it was just everybody miscalculating just a tiny bit. They've miscalculated by a good 2 laps. So they have really, really made a big mistake there, and that's going to cost them a huge amount of time. So that could be disastrous. We'll have to see how Jeff Connell and Luke Turner go now. Will they have enough fuel to the end? We saw they could make it 1 lap longer. They were stationary for a good second and a half. Well, that's almost 2 seconds longer than the rest of the pack. So they may well have just completely stolen a victory here away from everybody else's noses.
There's only 1 more lap to go. Once we get around this time, it'll be under 2 minutes, and there'll be 1 lap to go. So this is an absolutely brilliant strategy call by them, and disappointing for those 2 cars that ran out of fuel.
Yeah, that could have been a fantastic result for them if they'd just managed to ease it off a little bit and get around with that, just saving a little bit more fuel.
Well, as it stands at the moment, there's a 15-second gap back to Jack Boyd and Matty Carmione with 1 lap to go. I mean, they can roll out of the throttle a little bit here and make sure they make their way home.
Looking pretty good, you got to say. Luke Turner and Jeff Connell at the moment up in the front of the LMP2 category.
Just jump back here to the the AM category. Jordan Peter now under pressure from James Ruwell. So Ruwell, a debutant here, and he is all over the back of Jordan Peter. In fact, he's just jumped down on the inside here, trying to get the run, and he's going to get it done. He's used the draft very well there, got a really good run, and moves up into P2.
Really good racing we're seeing out there at the moment, and some interesting and good strategy calls as well, as Connell has going on to his final lap. So he's going to be pretty chuffed about this one, just working that one out perfectly. So
there's a battle going on in the background here as well. Look at this one. We've got Webster Hen and Alex Court, along with Armour Sharma. He's coming back through in that LMP2, having to fight off the Flyers with the high-pitched noise out of those V8. And he's trying to make his way through here. He'll get him done down the straight. Oh, he's on the headlights. Got the headlights going.
Flash. I mean, it is the thing of multi-class racing. Of you keep your line and just let the faster LMP just get past you, because it's they've got more downforce and speed than you generally. There's contact. There's contact there.
Yeah, that's Lachlan Capel. Tim Harris. Oh no! It's like he's come back on there. He's ended up going underneath, or he's had a radical go underneath that car. That is a broken LMP2 there. He will be kicking himself, Lockie. And Tim Harris is going to make his way back past there. There's going to be Jeff Connell. He's coming down the final straight now. He's going to come through. And barring anything untoward, he's going to take the win here. First win of the season. First win of Season 5. 2021 of the AUSPROAM Sim Series. And he's going to get it across the line there.
An absolute masterstroke on the strategy there.
Flash of the headlights there.
And Luke Turner as well. Fantastic drive for Luke Turner, as one of the radicals of Aaron Rosalio just goes round just in the bus stop, but looks like everybody's made it through. Luke Turner, who'd had a bit of a disastrous race, dropped way back after the start. We saw Luke Turner drop down the order, but used that the fuel save to his advantage and really got that place back.
Yeah, absolutely. So just having a focus here on the AM class, and it is Maverick Benson, Jordan Peter and Matty Johnson behind him. So there's a chance, a very slim chance here, that Matty Johnson might be able to get something done. Hasn't quite managed to make it happen. So you'd like to think this one is all done and dusted. Never know.
That's the big thing, is there's still going to be battles out on the track, and there's still racing going on. This is one of the times where it gets very messy, because you've got LMP2 cars, you've got radicals, you've got everything going on. I was just looking at Christopher Hen. He's got an absolute mad pack behind him, and Daniel Webster. What we're watching now, there are just cars all over the place trying to get through and get their positions saved. But Maverick Benson's going to be leading the pack and leading the charge as he goes through Blanchemont one more time, coming up to the bus stop for the final time tonight. It's going to be Maverick Benson taking out the radical win. A great job from him, with Jordan Peter in second and Matty Johnson, in P3.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good result for those three boys as well. So they get across the line and get some points under their belt very early on in the season. Doesn't get any earlier than the first race, of course.
Armour Sharma's just run out of fuel again.
Oh, he hasn't, has he?
Just limping it to the line at the moment. Just gonna. The trouble is, it's a bit uphill at the start-finish here. Then you just get over the crest here, and you can just start rolling it down. There's enough momentum to make it across the line here.
Oh, come on, he's got to get there.
There's that little bit of hill. It's just an annoying bit of hill right here, and it might not have the momentum to do it. Just might friction might be the enemy right here. That line is tantalizingly close right now, and it's just so close.
I think he's got it.
Secured the position though, because everybody else is finished.
He's got it going. He's going to get there. I feel like making that noise from the 80s, the as he's trying to race it across the line. Oh no, he's run out of time. He's run out of time. He didn't actually get there in the end. Anyway, we're going to have a warm-up here on between the two races. It'll be a reverse top 15 here on FGME Cast. So we will see how the second race turns out. We had a lot of good close racing there in that one. Of course, a couple of big incidences as well. People running out of fuel, but nice close racing, particularly for a grid of drivers not necessarily totally familiar with one another.
Yeah, it throws things up a little bit, makes things a little bit more higgledy-piggledy, you got to say. And it does throw the proverbial avian amongst the felines, but Jeff Connell just absolutely thief in the night there, just stealing that one away. Great job from Jeff Connell, you got to say, and perfect fuel timing as well. That was just that fuel save with Jeff Connell and Luke Turner there. Just a great job for both of them.
The real question is, are we surprised?
Well, that's it. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, but sometimes you just are. It's one of those races where I've just got to say I'm a little bit surprised, because I honestly, it was looking dicey there once I saw a few of those cars that stayed out with them dropping out, but they managed to make it work. And then I'm thinking, surely the rest of the field haven't made a mistake. Surely it won't be that. And yeah, it turns out they did. It was a big mistake for everybody there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing, because of course it can run that one extra lap. It's not absolutely time certain. So yeah, let's see how we go into the main event here. As I said, we've got 5 minutes of warm up. Basically, let the drivers go and get refreshment before we kick off the feature race.
Yeah, that's it. Gives everybody a little bit of time to stretch their legs and get a bit of a stretch of the back and all that kind of thing. Well, the drivers at least. The commentators don't get such luxury. We don't get a break between sessions because we can't have life that's nice and easy for us. But I'm looking forward to this feature race. We had some very quick cars get sort of caught out quite early in that last race.
We did.
And I think we're going to see some good driving now. Everybody's warmed up. Everybody's ready to go. The sun is very much setting now. It's getting very, very dark out in Belgium. And yeah, looking forward to this one.
We do only have another 20-minute feature race coming up here. So normal to what we would be looking at, which is a 40-minute feature race. So as the wildcard rounds go, that's how they operate. So there's 20 minutes to go, and then we will have the drivers, the winners, come in to the booth at the end of the main race as well. Carl, an appropriate time probably to not only mention our sponsors, but to have a quick question if you've got some trivia lined up. Of course, while you're doing that, simrigs.com, anything you need for sim racing, they are the place to go, aside of computers of course, but we've got you taken care of there as well. Simrigs.com just got a whole heap of new stock in as well, of triple monitor, everything that you need to get going. Simrigs with the seat, it's got your keyboard tray and the like there as well. So jump on board and have a look at simrigs.com if you need anything to go sim racing. Of course, Phoenix Smokers as well, to give you some place to cook something to eat while you're racing. Then it is HJ Plant Repairs. Of course, Hayden Jackson, a founding member of the AUSPROAM Sim Series, has sponsored it from the start. And we always thank him for his ongoing support. Echuca Toyota with the team up there jumping on board for this season as well. So if you are in Victoria, or even if you're interstate, I'm sure they can still help you out with a new car. 93PC, Sam Lehman's business there if you're looking to build a computer to go sim racing. And of course, Computer Technology Corporation, who will basically alleviate you of any of your computer technology requirements for your business. So we've got you covered. We've got you covered for everything, Carl.
We do indeed. Everything is covered there for you. You can build a house, you can get everything done, you can get your sim rig in there, you can pretty much do everything and live off lovely smoked foods as well. So there's not really anything that you can't do with those sponsors.
Oh, and who wouldn't want to smoke up some meat? I can name a fair few people who probably wouldn't, but I do. I love it. So anyway, what have you got for us trivia, Carl? We've got 25 seconds to go.
Well, my trivia question for tonight, I'm going to go with 1991. Of course, there was a debut for a driver that's quite famous, Mr. Michael Schumacher. Of course, he was debuting because a driver for that team got banned for the race because he'd done something very naughty, Mr. Bernard Gosh. What was the reason that Gosh didn't end up racing at the 1991 Belgian Grand Prix?
Well, there you go, people in the crowd. What was the reason? I have not the foggiest idea as to why that might be the case, even though I recently watched the Schumacher documentary, as I'm sure a number of people did. But that's not one of the things that I actually took out of it. So let us know in...
throw a curveball there, because it might be a bit too easy to ask a Schumacher question. So yeah, Bertrand Gachot, why did he not race in that race?
So we'll wait for some answers to come in. We will have a... Daiso's popped in early with an interesting one. We'll come in, we'll let a couple of people answer. And thanks. Why aren't you out here racing, Daiso, by the way? But thanks for joining the stream, as always. Love to have your company. We're about to get underway here, so we'll get that sort of short warm-up lap to go. It is Jeff Connell and Luke Turner off the top. So I did say it was a reverse grid race there. My apologies, it is not. I had believed that it should be, but be that as it may, Jeff Connell there in the Batmobile. You can see him just checking that the steering is working, but he's there, and he will be leading us away for the start of this 20-minute feature race. So you saw there how important fuel strategy was. I wonder how many people will be changing the way they approach this race, Carl, given that a number of them almost ran out and two did run out of fuel.
Yeah, I think everybody is going to be looking at those drivers that did that fuel save, and they're going to be thinking about that one because they know that it didn't work last time round. So any more answers for the question?
Yeah, I think Daiso's hit it on the head, because I think John Baldwin might have jumped in and confirmed it. Daiso said he assaulted a taxi driver, and then John Baldwin said he was in jail.
He was indeed, for assault on a London taxi driver. So Jeff Connell is going to lead us away on that happy moment. And away we go for race 2. Connell gets bogged down a little bit at the start. Somebody gets a lightning start on the outside. You can see they're all over the place at the moment. Jack Boyd really trying to get a position in the middle right there. Will he make it through? That's going to be a question. They're 3 wide into the first corner. They make it through. Number 7 has to go wide there. That's Andre Heimgartner getting a bit wide there. He had a fantastic start, but had to just ease out a little bit through that first corner.
Oh.
Great run up through Eau Rouge and over the top we go, and they make it through somehow. The lead pack has made it through. What about everybody else? Just jumping down to see what we've got going on at the moment, because of course there are a few of the LMP2 cars that have...
Oh, is he round? He goes round. Jack Boyd's gone around. And it looks like, I think he's taken out Heimgartner potentially. Andre Heimgartner there getting taken out as well. He's just got up on the curbing, rotated around, and went straight through the field. Lucky there not to take out a couple more cars.
Yeah, very lucky to not take more out. Meanwhile, Luke Turner is now in the lead with Matty Cardiglione and Jeff Connell in 3rd. John Merritt's in P4. James Pettigrew in P5. So this one has really got close.
Let's have a jump back quickly to the Radicals. It is Jordan Peter leading with Maverick Benson and Johnson behind. So that has been a change for position at the front there. It looks like there's an LMP2. That's Arma Sharma coming through the pack again. So he's making his way up through the field. So we jump back up to the front of the pack. We'll come back and have a look at the Radicals shortly. It is Luke Turner, Matty Cardiglione and Jeff Connell up the front. It looks like Dave Roberts now putting some pressure on James Pettigrew as well. So we head down towards the bus stop. In fact, as well, Jeff Connell under pressure. My apologies, Jeff Connell putting John Merritt under pressure for P3.
Andre Heimgartner's getting absolutely swamped into the bus stop as well. Just got a little bit loose. I think there's a little bit of damage on that car as well. As I did notice somebody just coming into pit lane this early. Yeah, so Jack Boyd coming into pit lane to get some repairs done and top that one up on fuel. Can he save enough and keep enough speed to maybe make it to the end from here? We did see that Jeff Connell made it with 1 lap remaining, so it is... It could be just about feasible to do it this way round, but you will have to fuel save a fair bit.
Slightly longer race here now as well, 30 minutes, so...
well, yeah, it won't be possible then.
Let's see. Tell you what, we'll have to have a chat to Sam. I thought this was a 20-minute race. That's what was in the notes. What are we doing here, Carl? Buddy,
we've been given the wrong information.
It's probably going to finish in the dark.
Who would expect that? Sam Lehman's setting up a race and then finishing in the dark. The only thing that we're missing is headlights on cars. They've got too many headlights, these cars.
Had to get that in early in the season. Doesn't get in much earlier than that. Thanks, Sam. But anyway, some good racing going on back here. Mitchell Bolton has just holding out against Jack Widdis. There's an LMP2 coming through as well. Looks like Jeffrey Wang in the background. So this is Alec Court, Jack Widdis and Mitchell Bolton all fighting for position again. Oh, there's a little bit of contact down the inside there.
Yeah, racing. There is some real racy cars out there at the moment. People are very much taking advantage of this now, and those radicals will be able to make it on one stop, I'm pretty sure. But the LMP2s, top class, they might have to make a two-stopper race with this one with that little bit of extra time.
Taking a look at some of this stuff in the background here. It is really, really close down in the depths of the radical field.
And how great do they look with the headlights shining, with those beautiful brake calipers glowing in the night. It is the perfect time for racing this time of night because you get to see the cars looking their best. A racing car looks its best at this kind of night where it's just a little bit gloomy.
Yeah, to check back if you can, Carl, just to the start of the radical race, because we've got a lot of drivers switched around there as well. So not sure what has happened there. Might be that a couple of drivers have jumped into pit lane or there was an incident. Daniel Webster's down in 40th position. Miles Bonds just jumped into pit lane. And James Ruwalt in 45th. So I'm not too sure what's happened at the start there. We might have missed that. Up at the front.
I did see a couple of cars going off, but I'm going back to have a little look at that now.
Up at the front, it's Luke Turner, who last lap around set the fastest lap of the race, a 2:01.07 to lead. He's got just on a half a second gap over Matty Cardaleone and John Merritt, likewise further back from Cardaleone. And then there's a bit of a gap back to Connell, who has Scotty Gray chasing him down. James Pettigrew not far off either. So it's settled down at the front, but there is still a couple of close battles happening. It looks like Brandon Levin might have had an issue in the radicals. Fair few number of drivers racking up off tracks here as well. It's one of the harshest tracks on iRacing for off tracks, even though the iRacing gods did release the track a little bit, allow with the change of the way they award those penalties to just drop them a little bit more generosity. So Lachlan Capel here trying to make a move down the inside of James Pettigrew. Pettigrew does the switch back there, gets the position back. Capel here opened up to Dave Roberts as well. Dave Roberts gets a good run. Looks like he's going to take that position down into turn one. It's going to be on here. We'll stick with these two as they head down on the run to the part of the track where you really don't want to be side by side with somebody else. Who's going to be brave here? Lachlan Capel gets his way through there ahead of Dave Roberts. Dave being conservative, just making sure he gets through. There's still a long way to go in this race. 22.5 minutes left.
Yeah, couldn't actually see anything major through the radical field, so nothing jumping out at me. So I did see a couple of cars just having a couple of moments up through Radion, but other than that, there was not really anything to speak of. There were a few little touches throughout the lap, and I think that might have just caught a couple of people out and a couple of big damage moments, unfortunately. Arma Shamrar is having a good run in the 90 at the moment, working his way up the field, up into P16 at the moment. So getting across the line and actually getting getting included in that race despite running out of fuel really helped, starting in 34th position. Just managed to start ahead of quite a few other drivers that got sort of held down there a little bit, but making the way through the field as well. So hopefully we'll have learnt last time round and be just a little bit lighter on that pedal and get that fuel stop working properly this time round.
Yeah, it was a good attempt, just didn't quite get there. So
So tantalisingly close.
It did, absolutely. So, but the question is, I mean, they can't save enough fuel here. They will need to stop at the very least once. But not too sure on how much fuel they're putting back into these tonight, where they've got full fuel capacity available, as we have a host of cars, other than that who you would expect, Jeff Connell. We have a host of cars jumping into pit lane at the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, so Connell once again taking the long strategy and just fuel saving. Will it pay off again? We'll find out, I'm sure. Obviously, a bit of a longer secondary stint here, and as you said, it's going to be the thing of how much fuel can they take on board and how much fuel does everybody take on this time. Because if they can only take on, say, 10 seconds of fuel, then they won't make it to the end. We know that, so they're going to have to stop again. I think Jeff Connell is going to be just planning to sort of come in just one lap later, so he can just take a little bit less fuel than the rest of the field and hopefully make it to the end, or possibly make a slightly shorter stop for that second stop. So just trying something a little bit different for Jeff Connell, just using that fuel saving. Luke Turner, though, is the first of the cars on the track that has taken a stop, but John Merritt is going to try and say, Matty Carlione, is going to say no to that, as Carlione gets the position in the 81.
Lachlan Capel there as well, battling away with James Pettigrew. Neither could make the gap on the other during the pit stops. They've come out of pit lane side by side, and Lachlan Capel just not quite able to close that out against James Pettigrew, so he retains the position in the number 69 entry in 6th position. So he's doing very, very well in one of the cows entries.
Maverick Benson still in the lead in the Radicals at the moment, doing a good job out there, just ahead of Sam Lehman although Sam Lehman is a lap or two down, unfortunately, just from that early incident. It's got Matthew Johnson just behind him, so Matthew Johnson again trying to chase down Maverick Benson in the Radicals at the moment, and Jack Widdus, Christopher Henn and Alex Court there, the top 5 in that sort of section of the race. Meanwhile, Jeff Connell has got into pit lane and is coming in for his fuel stop.
Interesting to see how much fuel he takes on in comparison. So looks like it was a calculation error, because you can see there that, well, you can't see there, so let me tell you that James Pettigrew took more petrol or more fuel than anyone else in that raft of stops. He was stationary for 10.15 seconds. So a full second, in fact, more than a majority of the other drivers. So potentially a miscalculation, or it could just be there was a little slow getting into the pit box.
Well, Jeff Connell stationary for 10.2 seconds on my screen, same as James Pettigrew. So Connell taking a bit more fuel than the rest of them. So I think Connell's going to try and keep it out there just a little bit longer once again, just try for that extra lap, and going to hope that can just save a little bit of lap time, save a little bit of time in that final pit stop. So trying to take advantage of the final pit stop. So Jeff Connell coming out in P5 now. So Matty Carlione is the leader of this race.
Somebody with Jack Widdus is trying to get make some progress up onto the back of Matty Johnson for P3. He's going to hook onto the back of car in front, trying to get a draft on here and get a pass. It's a car that's a lap down, so just helps him that little bit. But as you say, we'll jump on board now with Matty Carlione in the lead of this race. Turner and Merritt chasing him down. See there, the two Echuca Toyota sponsored cars doing a cracking job. And Matty Carlione will know that he has his mirrors full with those two drivers behind him. And there's a bit of a gap back from there to Scotty Gray, Jeff Connell. So, of course, Connell has just pit. So he'll be hoping that that has worked out well for him, as they're all over Matty Carlione here. Headlights ablaze. Carlione defends well in the 81. Switches back to the inside to cover that line off. And off he goes again. And the Turner and Merritt combination will have to have another look. See how they can maybe get this one done Cardleone will be under pressure here as they head up towards the bus stop. You can just see it now. He's going to be under pressure from those two entries.
Yeah, they're going to be able to work together a little bit here as well.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to sit in, work together a little bit, and just keep with each other. And you can see just swapping position there. John Merritt just getting ahead of Luke Turner. So they're just changing position there. I'd say a little bit of team thought there as well. Just have the cars swap position and just help with a little bit of fuel economy down the straight lines, and give John Merritt the chance to have a bit of an attack on Matty Cardleone this time round. So both those cars are really putting the pressure on Cardleone as it stands.
Worked out well for Merritt as well. He closed up a fair bit of the gap. Doesn't look like it's so much here, but closed up a fair bit of the gap there. Up to the back of Cardleone, so he's in the draft, which is the most important thing. And how will he use that now as they head towards the back straight, fastest part of the circuit? One of the faster parts of the circuit, I should say.
Yeah, there's a few fast parts of the Spa.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
One of the
many fast parts.
One of the many fast parts. Yeah, absolutely. One of the straight bits.
Well, it's not that many straight bits.
No. I was just saying, I'm just digging further down into the hole here, Carl, so I might let you save me if you can.
I'll try my best. So Cardleone doing a good job of defending, but they've also got to think about when they're going to take that second stop now. So they're going to have to make it to a point where they know they can make it home without too much trouble, but they don't want to lose too much time. They don't want to fall back into the clasp of the pack and get caught up behind somebody that's a little bit slower than them. Not that there's much speed difference between the cars out there, but if they fall back to a pack that's having a bit of a battle, they could lose a couple of tenths a second a lap. At the moment, it looks like Matt Andrews and Jai Potts coming into pit lane for their second pit stop. So they've decided to pull the trigger now, come in and get that bit of extra fuel to get them to the end of this race. So it'll be interesting to see how this one works out. Matt Andrews as well in pit lane. So a few of those drivers just decided to take their secondary stop there and see how this one works out. And this could be a good move right now. It's taking your second stop now. If you can get some clean air, you can get your way through and sort of see how well it goes from here on out. So we'll see how this one rotates. Tim Harris took his pit stop last time round. So Tim Harris just coming out behind Matt Andrews, I believe. So the 93 locked on iRacing car. Just behind him at the moment, and did get a message from Locked On. The podcast will be delayed a week this week, unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, but we will be back at full strength next week.
Just looking there on the end plate, has Matty Cardleone got a picture of himself on his own car?
Oh, that's too hard to see for me.
I think he has. I'll have to ask him about that if he makes it up to the top step. But John Merritt's looking to do all he can here. He's trying to go around the long way. Oh, as his teammate closes right up there as they jump into pit lane. So they've pulled the trigger. When will Jeff Connell come into pit lane? It's going to be at least a lap from now as he goes by back into the lead of the race.
I've got a feeling Jeff Connell's going to stick it out there for maybe an extra lap. So we might see it 2 laps here for Jeff Connell before he comes into pit lane, depending on how much that extra fuel allowed him, because we saw Jeff Connell manage to make it an extra lap with that previous tank. Will that little bit extra help him out this time round? And I just got a feeling that might be just trying to do that this time round, as it looks like Andre Heimgartner's keeping it out there for an extra lap as well, so he's going to come in next time round for his pit stop. Or maybe keep it out there a little bit longer.
Matty,
just using the advantage of clean air.
Matty Cardleone was in pit lane for a long time there. 51 seconds stationary for 20. Luke Turner the same. John Merritt only stationary for 9 seconds. Now, John Merritt, 9 seconds last time around, got you around about 13 minutes of track time. So he is going to be close on fuel to the end here. 20 seconds equally on the other side of it, though. A very, very long stop.
Yeah, that's an odd one for Carbione and Turner. I'm wondering if they got a penalty? That doesn't seem right.
Potentially, or maybe just made a mistake with the fuel number.
Possibly. They may have both overfilled it, but then if you can fill it up to that much, then you probably would have done that in the first stop, and that would have saved you coming in for a second stop.
Absolutely.
So there's definitely been a mistake. They've taken tyres.
Taken tyres. You've got to think that's probably a mistake as well. The track temp's quite low. It's in the evening, so interesting to see if that will allow them. The pace has dropped off around about 4 seconds. Having said that, the last lap around Jeff Connell did was a 2:01.43, which isn't the fastest lap of the race, but is very close to it.
Jeff Connell sticking it out there for another lap. So Jeff Connell is going to stick it out there for one more lap before he comes into pit lane. I would say it's a mistake by Turner and Cardiglione. I think they both just made a mistake, unfortunately, because 10 seconds is an eternity, and I don't think those fresh tyres will be valuable enough to really gain them time.
Heimgartner into pit lane.
Heimgartner coming in now as well, so Heimgartner just managing to save a little bit more fuel that time round, so should be a little bit quicker in pit lane. Jack Boyd in as well, so a few drivers coming in this time round as well, just giving it that little bit of extra stint. I think this might be Jack Boyd's third stop now, because he had to come in for that repair, of course, so Jack Boyd on a bit of a recovery drive tonight.
Yeah, he's got his dad Glenn right behind him, as in fact Glenn actually moves in front, but it is still Jeff Connell in the lead.
And has Jeff Connell made the right choice? Has he got enough fuel in there to get around this lap? Done the lifting correct, done everything right? Or will we hear a little bit of a cough and splutter as he gets towards the end, clutching it and saving it a lot?
So there was some
you can see
coasting
on board, very much fuel saving mode, but still putting a foot down when he needs to, so definitely feels like he's got enough fuel for the moment. It is a long straight here, and it is a little bit uphill for this section as well, so that's something that can cost you a little bit, because of course when you're going uphill you use a little bit more fuel than you would expect to. A lot of the radicals to pass as well. Look at the sea of radicals in front of him right now. Chosen the exact right time to come into pit lane, pretty much. Coasting into the bus stop chicane right here, and going to be coming into pit lane this time round.
Oof, a little bit loose there on the entry, but executes the rest of it very well. That is one very bent looking Injectors Online entry.
Paul Mansell there, unfortunately. He's had a big incident. I'm just going back to have a look at that one, because that was on the last lap. Seeing where that one happened. Oh, he's just come out of Lacombe and hit the wall very hard on the exit there. Done a bit of a... who was that did that in the Grand Prix? I think now. Leclerc. That's right. So I did a bit of a Leclerc there.
John Merritt resumes the lead of the race. Scotty Gray behind him. Lachlan Capel up into third position. Young Lachlan Capel doing a good job, up 12 spots. He'll be absolutely pumped with that. He's going to have a very hard charging Jeff Connell behind him, though, who will be looking to take that position and maybe a couple more back over the remaining 8 minutes or so of this feature race for the AUSPROAM Sim Series Season 5. Round 1, Race 2. So it's going to be a battle up the front, that is for sure. Speaking of the tyre difference, Matty Cardiglione just did the fastest lap of the race at 2 minute 0.8. So to answer our question about the tyre difference, he is up behind Jeff Connell now. Connell out of pit lane and is within 8 seconds of the lead. Last lap around, he was over half a second faster than the race leader.
Here's an interesting... Sorry, I just noticed Tim Harris just had to pit. He stopped 1 lap shy of everybody else last time round, but he's had to come in for his third pit stop, so there are a few cars out there that have done 3 stops now. So I'm wondering if it is just a little bit iffy to fuel to the end for everybody, and if Jeff Connell has absolutely called this one perfectly with the strategy once again. Do the drivers that all stopped 3 laps ago have enough fuel to make it? So this is going to be interesting from here, I'd say. We'll soon find out if they start peeling in pit lane. If we start seeing a few of those front runners peeling into pit lane, then we'll have our answer that it is touch and go. But you'd think they would have plenty, but it's got me wondering, that one.
If that's the case, then you'd say Cardaleone's probably borderline as well. Now, he's just got past Jeff Connell, so he's on the hunt now for Lockie Capel, who's just leaving your picture as well. But you'd say everyone in front of Jeff Connell is on the border as to whether or not they'll make it home on fuel.
Matt Andrews, Daniel Cheney, Jade Potts all coming into pit lane as well. So Daniel Cheney, same strategy as the leaders. So
pitted on lap 8, did he?
Sorry?
Pitted on lap 8, did he?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, this is going to get real interesting.
Yeah. Sorry. My screen has slightly different timing stats to Stuart. So I have to do calculations in my brain, which is always fun.
In the meantime, it is still Maverick Benson leading the amateur series in the Radical, so he's out in front. He's got a solid gap, 6.5 seconds over Matty Johnson, and then Jack Wittes only a second behind him, so there's enough of a gap between them, but even the slightest of mistakes and they will be under pressure. There's a huge battle going on a little bit further back between Jordan Peter, Richard Brookfield, Derek Auty, Andrew Hayes and Brady Buchanan. And that's the 5 cars on screen there. Tim Auty not too far off in the background either. So they're all fighting away. This is for positions 29 and beyond outright. But in class, this is for position 7.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic battle going on. It's one of the trickier things in multi-class racing is as John Merritt's pitting and John Merritt is pitting. So that answers the question. They are coming in for another pit stop. So
Bray, Capel and Cardaleone in as well.
Yep.
So
Jeff Connell.
Jeff Connell.
Oh, it's going to be close for Connell, but it looks like he has pulled the right strategy here.
Well, he's got 2 extra laps on them. That's 4 minutes of running time, and he's just started a lap, so he will be fine for fuel, what you would think. He's 2 laps up on everyone else.
Should be just about okay. So that is that's some brilliant fuel saving done there from Jeff Connell, and yeah, you've got to say disaster for Cardaleone. Although those fresh tyres looking good.
He's saving heavily still though.
Yeah. He still needs to save. He's going to need to save probably about half a lap of fuel, I think. So he is going to have to coast it round and just be so gentle on that throttle pedal. It's still not Connell's race yet, but he has got a good 18-second lead, so he can afford to be a little bit frugal with the old go juice tonight. And he might be able to just creep it across the line without having that extra stop. If he can do this on a 2-stopper, Connell has pulled an absolute blinder.
Might have to introduce another Jeff Connell rule where he has to pit when everyone else does.
What's that, the 6 or 7 of Jeff Connell rule?
Just to have another one for the season. If you are joining us for the first time, there have been not 1, not 2, but I believe 3 rules introduced to counteract strategies that Jeff Connell has found, which are totally legitimate strategies, but just played some advantages in the rulebook.
Very much the 1994 and 1995 Benetton rulebooks of just finding what it says in the rules and just going, yeah, it doesn't quite say that there, so I'm just going to use that to my advantage. Very well done.
I remember the first time we saw it. I remember the first time we saw it. We all said we loved it. Still do.
Well, it's the thing of motorsport. If you are not taking every advantage possible, you're not trying hard enough.
Absolutely right. Ross Brawn philosophy.
Yeah, of course, who could forget 2009 with that blown diffuser, taking a huge gamble there, and it paid off in an immense way.
Yeah, World Championship's not a bad way to win it, is it?
Own your team for a year, win the championship, retire the team, sell it to Mercedes, and away you go. It was a perfect year for Braun.
Not to mention the lateness at which he picked up the team before he did all of that stuff as well, of course. So we've got under 2 minutes to go now. So it's going to be touch and go whether we actually get an extra lap. I didn't see the white flag then, so I'm assuming we will.
Well, I think Jeff Connell is going to be hoping we don't get an extra lap. That's the thing. It's going to be very close for Connell.
He's got 15 seconds up his sleeve. He can control that. He can absolutely control that.
Jack Boyd and Heimgartner both coming into pit lane again. So we saw Heimgartner go that 1 lap longer. But we did see Jeff Connell go 2 laps longer. So that's the thing. Connell should just be able to sneak it across the line. He might have to do a little bit of rocking in his sim chair just to get it across there. But it should just be able to do it. One of the gadgets on the Batmobile is obviously fuel saving mode.
He's got one of those fuel misers in the fuel line. Just to help him make sure he gets there. But no, just good strategy from him. Working out exactly how far or what number he needed to drive to get it home.
Yeah, and we'll soon find out as he's coming around to start the final lap now. And he's just going to back off a little bit just to make sure that white flag does come out. Does he peel into pit lane? No, he does not. So this is going to be the final lap right here. Will that black Batmobile have enough fuel in it to get it across one more lap of Spa-Francorchamps? 7 kilometers to go. It is a long lap here at Spa. It's one of the laps where you don't really want to be looking at the fuel gauge going, it's telling me I only have enough for about 3/4 of a lap. This is going to be a tricky one because there are so many uphill sections that are very fast that do chew up the fuel here. You can coast it down at the downhill section, of course, as you get over the top of Lacombe. So all the way down into turns 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way down to Savalo. And then you're back on the throttle as you go uphill again. So Connell's going to be using that downhill advantage to his best effort. Got a 14-second gap over John Merritt at the moment. There's a big crash in front of Connell.
In front. It's going round.
So that was Amar Sharma unfortunately going around. Just saving it there and just waiting for the field to go past, just waiting for a safe spot to rejoin. But unfortunately for Sharma, early gains not paid off too well towards the end of the race there, sadly for them.
He'll be looking to get into the GTs next week, no doubt.
Yeah, back into a more familiar territory.
That's it, he was top 5 or 6 in the GTs in the qualifying, so from memory, so he'll be looking forward to getting back into those, no doubt, after this wildcard round. That's what's called the wildcard round, of course.
It often is very wild.
And something different. So Jeff Connell makes his way. He's got under half a lap to go now. In fact, only this straight
Jeff
to go.
Connell is creeping it up. He's just letting all of those radicals know to get past him. And the radicals don't really want to do that because they don't want to do another lap. So there is a traffic jam forming behind Jeff Connell as he comes up through the bus stop for the final time. And is going to creep it across the line. Got enough go juice just to get it over the brow of the hill. And downhill we go. Jeff Connell takes out the second win of the night. Now, who's going to come home in P2?
So we'll jump on board. It looks like John Merritt's going to get it. Well, goodness me. Look at all that in the background there. It is John Merritt who gets across the line. Scotty Gray's going to come home in 3rd position with Matty Carneleone 4th. Lachlan Capel in 5th. Joshua Fitt in 6th, and you can see the rest of them start to come through now. Pettigrew, Turner, Dustin Fletcher coming around the last corner now. So let's jump back down here. It is Maverick Benson, who still has completed his race, so he has taken out the win. The Radicals, it sounds like he's actually still going. He's got a lap to go, so he's on his final lap now.
Yeah, so Maverick Benson and Matthew Johnson both have to do one more lap. They have to make it round, of course. So they're just hoping they did their fuel calculations correct, because you saw Christopher Henn, he actually just dropped behind Jeff Connell. Right at the end there, Jeff Connell was saying, look, just get past us. Because Maverick Benson is fuel saving like a boss at the moment. He is absolutely on that clutch. Matty Johnson here could have a chance. This is going to be a absolute race to the end, and who has the fuel to make it?
Johnson's got more fuel on board. Johnson has more fuel on board than Benson, so he may not need to save it all. So we'll stick with this one.
And as we say, this final section is slightly uphill, so this is disastrous if you're having to fuel save. He could just cough across the line and cost Maverick Benson that class win here. It's going to be close for this final run. Johnson is catching slightly. You can see visibly just catching there. Benson is gliding. He is out of fuel by the sounds of it as Johnson gets past. Johnson is going to take it on the last lap. Get the win here. Will Benson be able to cross the finish line? Will he have enough momentum to get it across the line here? That's the big question. Should be... if he doesn't get... Yes, he's got enough. He's just saved enough to just get that power out and get to the downhill section. Maverick Benson will finish in P2.
Wow.
But Matthew Johnson timed that to perfection, had the fuel set perfectly. That extra lap of fuel giving the Red Roo the victory.
There it is. 2 races finished with 2 cars running out of fuel. But that one there having an impact on the result. So let's bring it up on screen. What a night to start off with. It has gone by in a flash. Let's have a look here at the overall results for the feature race. They come up on screen, and there we are. Oh, done the wrong thing there. There we go. That's going to be a little bit better. So it was in the feature race. Jeff Connell taking out the win there. Master of Fuel Strategy again, proving the difference with John Merritt in second, Scotty Gray in third. Then we've got Matty Carneleone in fourth with Lachlan Capel fifth. Joshua Fitt in sixth, James Pettigrew seventh, Luke Turner in eighth, Dustin Fletcher ninth, Daniel Cheney rounding out our top 10. And then it was Matthew Johnson, Maverick Benson and Christopher Henn as the top 3 in our amateur class for this evening. So a good finish to the race there. Just waiting for our podium winners to jump into the commentary box. Carl, nothing less than what we would expect from this series at the start. Really, really good close racing. And even for a wildcard round, the driving standards extraordinarily high. Fantastic racing from everyone.
Yeah, really good racing out there. We've had our first test of Pass 2, and it has passed with flying colours, and the AUSPASS series has come on great with this round as well. So it was really good to see that race. Some really good fuel strategies coming out there, different fuel strategies as well coming into play. But that final was fantastic, and Pro and Am there, and the P2, of course, and the Radical both giving us an absolute finish that was a nail biter, that we were just going, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it?
Well, speaking of that, we were joined in the com box by a couple of the drivers who made the podium from our pro category, fuel saver extraordinaire. Jeff Connell, we'll get to you in a sec, Jeff. In the meantime, we'll jump on board with the mad cow himself, Scotty Gray. Scotty, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on P3.
Thank you, Stu. Good to be here. Glad to represent the livery that you love so much, mate.
Yeah, I do, mate.
Wasn't really expecting a podium. Had absolutely no pace in qualifying today, and I'd only done probably about 10 laps of practice before today in this car. So, didn't expect to get third. I think I got a bit lucky with some of the guys in front probably making a few mistakes, but I'll take it.
Oh, mate, you've got to be there at the end to take the win. The fuel strategy here caught us by surprise as well. You had to make that third stop, just not quite able to grab enough throughout the stint to get across there with the 2.
Nah, definitely not. I was just having a chat to Jeff about it before, because I only did a handful of laps of practice. I didn't even have a good read on my fuel number, let alone what you need to do to fuel save. So yeah, I wasn't surprised when I saw Jeff lifting and coasting in the first race, and then again in the second. I knew what was up straight away. But yeah, couldn't have even tried.
No, definitely a good strategy play there, and obviously the Dallara being something of a unique beast to drive, mate. If you haven't spent a lot of time in it, probably looking forward to getting back into the GTs next week.
Yeah, always a big fan of the GT3, but for a wildcard, I'm pretty happy with this LMP2. It's pretty nice to drive, but the tyres are a little bit odd. Can be a bit strange to get the pace out of.
Oh, Scotty, a well-deserved third place, mate. Good start to Season 5. Just the usual love and shout-out to sponsors, please.
No sponsors for us, but I'll shout out to all the cows in the herd with a quick moo. And and thanks very much to you guys for broadcasting, and to all the series sponsors.
No worries at all, Scotty. Great P3 there. Joined by John Merritt. John, welcome to the booth. P2 in the Dallara tonight, mate. Just again, the fuel not quite getting you there, but a good strong start to Season 5.
No, it was a good start, Stu. Jeff certainly nailed the strategy and did well to make the fuel save work. So, no, it was a good run. The P2s are definitely good fun as a car.
You guys were the team giving a lot of curry to Matty Carmeleone there for a fair portion of that second race, just not quite able to get past him. But they both look strong here at Spa.
Yeah, Luke and I have done a few enduros in the P2, so like the car. But Mr. Carmeleone definitely had the pace, I think, and he's unlucky. I think he may not have. He went to take tyres at that last stop, which sort of hurt him, I think.
Yeah, he was showing some extra pace there, but just not quite enough laps to get it done. He did a late 2-minute flat lap there and looked like he was going to catch up, but just ran out of laps, unfortunately.
Yeah, super quick, and he was unlucky tonight. He definitely deserved to be on the podium in the final race, I think. Yeah.
And looking forward to getting back into the GT3 product next week.
Yeah, no. Look, the wildcard's good to start with one. The GT3, I think, just looking at the numbers that turned out for the pre-qual, it should be a great series. You know, I think everyone's pretty much come back, and we've sort of grown the numbers, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah,
looking forward to it very much so, and some of the stronger drivers from last season even moving through that, so you can just see how much the series has strengthened. John, obviously congratulations on a P2 tonight, a great way to start the season for you as well. Just a shout out to the sponsors, please.
Thanks, Stu. Yeah, thanks Pulse Tuning Crew and Echuca Toyota and the guys. Fun night, so thank you, and thank you obviously FGM and all the series sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Congratulations on P2. We move on to Jeff, the Batmobile. Jeff Connell, mate, we were just talking about whether or not we can put another rule in the rule book about you having to pit at the same time as a driver that we nominate. How would you feel about that?
Would have killed me tonight because I didn't have enough pace to win on raw pace. So just I just thought, I was so far off the pace, I was never going to win in a flat-out race. So I just thought I'll try something different. I sort of had nothing to lose. Like there's less points on offer for these rounds, so if it went pear-shaped, it didn't really matter. I wouldn't have won anyway. So yeah, it worked out well.
Yeah, absolutely. We sort of didn't have a clear window ourselves on how fuel was going to work tonight. Obviously, with the tanks in the Dallaras and the restrictions that get put on it. But you played it down to a T, managing to save a lap on both stints there, which got you through to the end. How much fuel did you have when you crossed the start-finish line?
I still had a bit because I had such a decent gap on the last lap. I was able to back off around some of those radical cars, so that left me a little bit. But if I was going flat out, it would have been pretty marginal. But it was good to have a bit of a gap getting around some of those other cars. It was pretty hairy a few times, so yeah, pretty lucky there.
And same question. Looking forward to getting back into the GT3s next week.
Yeah, a bit more comfortable in those cars and with those tyres and everything, so less aero. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Sebring's not my best track, but yeah, it should be fun.
Oh, we're certainly looking forward to it. And just as always, mate, the usual shout out to and hello to people.
Yeah, no sponsors. It's why the car's playing, but thanks to Sam and Matt and everyone for getting this series running again. They put on an awesome show and takes a lot of time. So thanks to them for that. Thanks to you guys for the great broadcast as well. And all the series sponsors too.
Oh, absolutely, Jeff Connell, a deserved double W for you tonight, Jeff. It's been a little while since we've seen one of those from you, but absolutely love having you back up the front. Looking forward to seeing how you get cracking throughout season 5. Well done there. Our podium for the pro class, Jeff Connell, John Merritt and Scotty Gray. We are joined by Matty Johnson, the winner of the AM class. Matty, congratulations on the win there, mate. A snatch at the last minute with the fuel getting you across the line.
Yeah, a bit of a tight one there. I thought Maverick had it to the finish there, but he started letting off the throttle a fair bit in the last kind of half of that lap, so got the heart racing towards the end.
We did note, we were having a look, and we mentioned on the stream there that you'd managed to gather a little bit of extra fuel in the stop than he did, so we thought you might be a little bit better off, and then we saw him clutching in as he came round through Pouillon. And we thought you might be in with a shout, and then he just had that cough down the straight. So a good win for you. How was it? The Radicals were absolutely fantastic to watch tonight on the stream. How did you find giving them a crack against the GT3 product?
Oh, look, it's so much fun. It honestly, it feels like just a big go-kart, kind of. Like, you can just really kind of throw them around. They're really good to race with. Particularly close racing. I think the slipstream made a lot of it interesting as well, a bit of tactical play and where you're passing and whatnot. But no, they're awesome fun. Certainly a bit different to the GT3s, but good cars, definitely.
And I haven't quite got my head yet across everyone that's running, because of course there's been a lot of changes to the list for season 5. What are you running next week?
So Audi next week.
You jumped in the Audi. That's one of my favourites.
Audi, yeah.
At Sebring, that will be interesting to see how that goes. As we always do, mate, just a cheerio to your sponsors and anyone who might be watching the stream.
No sponsors for myself, but just shout out to my team and my boys at Red Roo Sim Racing, and just to everyone for putting, obviously, this season together. I think it's going to be a really good one. And to Sam and Matt as well. I know how much time they put into it. And obviously all the sponsors as well. And obviously yourself at FGM.
Absolutely. We love your livery there. It got a special mention with the Red Roo on the bonnet, so a fantastic one for that. We hope to see that during the season, so congratulations, Matty Johnson, taking out the win in the feature race for the amateur class. And did mention there, of course, Carl, all of the sponsors, we've got to give them a big shout out again. Simrigs.com, the main sponsor for the series this season. We've got 93 PC, Echuca Toyota, CTC, or Computer Technology Corporation, and of course we also have Phoenix Smokers and HJ Plant Repairs, who are on board with us, making donations, contributions to the prize money and the running costs for the series. So fantastic to have all of those organisations back on board with us for this season.
Yeah, very much so. It seems like Red Roo's pouch gives you a little bit of extra fuel. So.
Oh, wow. You've been waiting.
I've been waiting on that one, yeah.
You're sitting there thinking, why did Stu take the interviews? I've got this thing I've got to say. No, very good. So tomorrow night, Carl, we're back with our final stream of the week. It's a short week for us, but we're back with the Thunder Series, the Xfinity cars with Anscar.
We are at Homestead, Miami, of course. So a lovely Miami sunset coming to you from this beautiful Spa sunset, of course, and now night time in the beautiful Belgium region of Spa. But we are off to Miami next time with the Xfinity car, so hope to see you there. We look forward to bringing you that stream, and look forward to a slightly earlier week off as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll be 7:45 tomorrow night. Of course, there'll be a highlights package put together from this fantastic evening. That'll be up tomorrow as well if you are watching on YouTube or across our streaming platforms. We thank you very much for joining us for the evening. We hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have in putting on. And as usual, from Carl Withy and myself, FGM eCast, your E-Place with Pace. That's good night. We'll see you tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. Thanks for watching.